Summary: Naruto is thrown back in time after being defeated, but this time Naruto gains the powers of the Rinnegan and has knowledge of the future. Now let's begin. Naruto remarked, so that's Danzo's right arm, a fusion of Senju and Uchiha powers. If I recall correctly, that arm was created using Shin Uchiha cells, Orochimaru confirmed. Indeed, Shin's ability to resist rejection allowed him to simultaneously integrate Hashirama's cells and the Sharingan collected after the Uchiha massacre. Naruto thought to himself, even I feel furious just looking at it. Sasuke must have been enraged when he saw this back then. That's why this time, I'll take care of Danzo myself. His ideology and methods will only hinder our future plans. Danzo, confident of victory, declared, Naruto Uzumaki, it seems you've gained one of Nagato's Rinnegan and have begun to master its power. However, against the combined might of Senju and Uchiha, you stand no chance. Swish, swish, swish. He swiftly formed 3 hand seals and charged at Naruto. Naruto stood firm, unmoving as a mountain, his eyes brimming with fighting spirit. Izanagi? Is it coming? Orochimaru retreated to a distance, leaving the stage to Naruto. With Danzo wielding the combined powers of Senju and Uchiha, and Naruto possessing the Rinnegan, both of them embody the essence of the Sage of Six Paths He. Let's see how this clash unfolds. The left eye of Shisui, I didn't get it back then. In hindsight, it must have been fate, a sign that I would obtain the Rinnegan. Your left eye, Naruto. I'll be taking it without hesitation. Swish. As Danzo closed in, he reached directly for Naruto's left eye without any preamble. Danzo closed in swiftly, his right hand darting toward Naruto's eye socket. Digging out an eye barehanded, it was not a reckless move. With Izanagi, any damage could be turned into an illusion, giving Danzo the confidence to act so boldly. Failure would cost him nothing, and success would mean everything. Why not take the chance? Is this how you obtained Shisui's right eye as well, Danzo? Naruto murmured inwardly, his left eye narrowing sharply. Shinra Tensei, boom, ugh. A powerful repulsive force exploded outward, sending Danzo flying in a sorry state. Shinra Tensei *, a technique that emits an omnidirectional repulsive force centered on the user, deflecting all physical and ninjutsu attacks. It's a flawless move for both offense and defense. Whoosh! The figure of Danzo, flung away, dissolved into a fleeting mirage. His true body reappeared right in front of Naruto. But between uses, there's a 5-second interval. That's the weakness of this technique. It's worth noting that during Pain's assault on Konoha, Danzo and his root operatives remained underground, observing the battle without participating. The intelligence on the Rinnegan gathered by Jiraiya and Konoha's forces during their skirmishes was also collected by Root. Danzo's original plan had been to wait until Pain and Konoha were both severely weakened before stepping in as the savior. This would not only diminish Tsunade's faction but also elevate his own reputation, allowing him to seize power. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. Naruto returned from Mount Myaboku and defeated Pain. Swish! As Danzo charged, a kunai slipped from his sleeve, thrusting straight toward Naruto's face. Naruto closed his eyes briefly. The shadow clone he had hidden earlier dispersed, feeding back Sage Chakra to his main body, instantly activating Sage Mode. Swish! Naruto shifted his body slightly, dodging the kunai. His right hand grabbed Danzo's arm while his left hand formed a Rinnegan, striking Danzo squarely in the chest. Sage Art. Rinnegan. Arg! The Rinnegan exploded, leaving Danzo's chest a bloody mess. Thud! Naruto followed up with a powerful kick, sending Danzo flying. He crashed through 3 trees in a straight line before coming to a stop, covered in snow. Moments later, Izanagi took effect, and all of Danzo's injuries vanished. Danzo stood up, brushing the snow off his shoulders, his expression calm. Sage Mode enhances both perception and physical abilities significantly. Combined with the Rinnegan's powers, you almost have no weaknesses. A smirk appeared on his face. But no matter how strong you are, Izanagi ensures that I remain undefeated. Whoosh! Danzo formed hand seals, took a deep breath, and held it in. The wrinkles on his face seemed to converge toward his mouth. Wind release. Vacuum bullets. Bayu. 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 Danzo exhaled, and the wind release chakra shot out like bullets wide in range and incredibly fast. Swish! Naruto ducked, weaved, and flipped through the gaps between the vacuum bullets, closing the distance toward Danzo. You like using wind release too? Let me return the favor. As Danzo's vacuum bullets came to an end, Naruto created shadow clones. Combining them with the nature transformation of the Rinnegan, a piercing wind howled, chilling everyone to the bone. Naruto spun elegantly, building momentum, and hurled the deadly weapon at Danzo. Sage Art. Wind Release. Raisin Shuriken. There was no escape. The wind blades struck Danzo, sending him flying backward. Boom! Rumble. The devastating windstorm obliterated Danzo and the surrounding forest completely. Whoosh! Danzo reappeared 20 meters away in an open clearing, gazing at the aftermath of the storm with a grave expression. To incorporate nature transformation into the Rinnegan, combined with Sage Chakra for a long-range attack. This is the pinnacle of wind release. But it's a pity such a brilliant jutsu will disappear from the ninja world today. As he spoke, Danzo looked down at his right arm. The first Sharingan had closed completely, and the second was already counting down. His thoughts raced. Naruto wields the Rinnegan and Sage mode. He has too many ways to finish me off. To be cautious, I can't afford to conserve chakra by deactivating Izanagi midway. With 9 Sharingan, I have about 9 minutes of Izanagi Estorration left. Fortunately, Naruto's Sage mode isn't like the first Hokage's. It can't be maintained indefinitely. According to the intel, Naruto can replenish Sage Chakra using up to 2 shadow clones during battle. However, using that wind release Sage Jutsu will accelerate his chakra consumption, increasing the risk of his Sage mode deactivating. With 9 minutes, I still have a good chance. I'll keep up the pressure, look for an opening, and take his left eye. Victory will then be mine. Whoosh! Having finalized his strategy, Danzo formed seals and took a deep breath. Wind release. Vacuum Great Sphere. Boom! An overwhelming wind release transformed into a massive cannon, sweeping up snow as it blasted toward Naruto's position. Naruto reserved Shinra Tensei for defending against Danzo's close-range attacks. The Rinnegan's 6 paths abilities were incredibly versatile, offering many options. Facing the oncoming Vacuum Great Sphere, Naruto extended his left hand, and a sealing barrier appeared before his palm. Predapath. Whoosh! The Vacuum Great Sphere rapidly shrank as it was absorbed by the Predapath. That's the Rinnegan's ability to absorb ninjutsu, as described in the intel. Swoosh! Danzo quickly unfurled a stack of explosive tags, detonating them on himself. In the state of Izanagi, death allowed him to respawn at a chosen location. Exploiting this ability, Danzo reappeared behind Naruto, launching a surprise attack. Naruto continued absorbing ninjutsu, glancing backward out of the corner of his eye. Danzo smirked inwardly. Yes, use that repulsive force against me. That 5-second interval will give me the perfect opportunity. But then, Naruto's lips curled into a sly smile. He reached into his ninja pouch, pulled out a smoke bomb, and smashed it to the ground. Poof! Thick smoke spread, obscuring the view behind him. Danzo hesitated mid-step. What? A smoke bomb? In that brief moment of doubt, Naruto finished absorbing the ninjutsu. He formed hand seals and spun around dramatically. Sage Art. Fire Release. Great Flame Technique. Boom! Roaring flames erupted, cutting off Danzo's path. The two stood tensely, separated by dozens of meters. Naruto raised a hand, smiling faintly. I've just been playing around with these Rinnegan abilities because they're new to me. Don't think that just because I've learned to run, I've forgotten how to walk. Danzo was momentarily speechless as his gaze shifted to his right arm. The second Sharingan had closed completely, and the third was already halfway through its countdown. A quarter of Izanagi's duration had been consumed, yet he had gained no advantage. It's worth noting that while Izanagi was powerful, its chakra consumption increased over time, making it a risky technique. Naruto's tone was laced with amusement. Are you sure you're okay? You've already used up almost 3 eyes. My chakra reserves are still plenty full. Danzo clenched his fists tightly, then slowly relaxed them. A smile crept across his wrinkled face. Naruto, I've seen countless people in my lifetime, and I've never misjudged anyone. You have the potential for darkness. There's no soil more suitable for you than root. Naruto narrowed his eyes. And Danzo made a shocking proposal. So let's join forces. I've already risen to the position of Hokage, and I'm no longer suited to remain in root. If you agree, I'll appoint you as the leader of root. What do you say? After listening to Danzo's proposal, Naruto rubbed his chin thoughtfully and said, That does sound like a good idea. Danzo's expression shifted slightly. Exactly. As long as we join forces, making Konoha reign supreme over the entire ninja world will be within our grasp. Naruto lowered his hand from his chin, his gaze becoming deeper. making Konoha reign supreme over the ninja world. Do you think that's enough? Oh, Danzo raised an eyebrow. Could it be that you have an even grander plan? Naruto replied bluntly. Of course I do. But you wouldn't understand because your vision and abilities are far too limited. Danzo's tone grew darker. Abilities aside, why do you claim my vision is lacking? Naruto countered. Let me ask you this, where were you and the Root when Pain attacked the village? Danzo defended himself. For the future of the ninja world, proper patience and concealment are necessary. For Root to step into the light, it requires the right opportunity. With Tsunade's slug techniques, the village wouldn't have been completely destroyed. Those sacrifices were temporary. Once I take the position of Hokage, Konoha will enter a new era of prosperity. He then shifted the topic. Speaking of which, why did the Pain incident happen in the first place? Isn't it because of Jiraiya's naivety and Tsunade's indulgence? If I had been in power, Pain would never have been born, and the Akatsuki would never have risen. Root's way is to nip all risks to the village's development in the bud. Tell me, where exactly is my vision lacking? Naruto said solemnly. Along with the risks you eliminate, you also kill hope. Danzo chuckled. Hope? You want me to place the future in something as intangible as that? Naruto replied coldly. Calling it intangible is exactly where your narrow-mindedness lies. Flowers wither in soil devoid of hope. Even if they manage to survive, they grow covered in poisonous thorns. Danzo, you keep claiming that Pain wouldn't have been born and the Akatsuki wouldn't have risen under your watch. But the early Akatsuki was a righteous organization. It was your secret interference that caused Nagato to lose his faith, turning him into Pain and twisting the Akatsuki's ideals. That's right. The one truly responsible for the village's destruction isn't Jiraiya-sensei or Tsunade-bachan. It's your so-called Dark Root Doctrine. In the end, you're just using the pretense of protecting the village to satisfy your own ambitions. Danzo, you are unworthy of being Hokage. Danzo clenched his fist tightly, his aged face filled with cold fury. So, you're refusing my proposal? Naruto smirked. Bakadash, with so many paths ahead, why would I choose a dead end? Danzo's voice dropped dangerously low. Then leave behind your Nine Tails and Rinnegan, and become the stepping stone for my ascent. During their conversation, Danzo had been gathering an unprecedented amount of chakra, preparing to unleash a move even more powerful than the ones he used against Sasuke. After forming a series of hand seals, Danzo suddenly clasped his hands tightly in front of his chest. Would release. Nativity of a world of trees. Boom, boom, boom. Saplings broke through the earth's surface, growing into towering trees within seconds. The wood release of the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, the power that ended the Warring States era and even suppressed the Nine Tails. Uzumaki Naruto, bow before this power. Ugh, hi! Danzo's forehead bulged with veins as his clasped hands trembled violently. He poured all his chakra into the trees, driving them to strangle Naruto. Observing from the sidelines, Orochimaru murmured to himself, using both Izanagi and would release simultaneously. The chakra consumption is unimaginable. It seems Danzo has concluded that ordinary ninjutsu won't suffice against the current Naruto. After failing to negotiate, he's decided to stake everything on this gamble. Now then, Naruto, how will you respond? The forest erupted into chaos, shaking the earth as it advanced. Would release, huh? Perfect. There's a technique I've been wanting to try. Naruto's lips curled into a smile as he formed hand seals in front of his chest, taking a deep breath. ** Sage Art. Fire Release. Great Blaze Annihilation. *. Whoosh! A thin pillar of fire shot from Naruto's mouth, extending 10 meters before erupting into a massive inferno that blocked the advancing forest. The heat was so intense it evaporated the snow in the air. Danzo was stunned. You've got to be kidding me. He used fire release to suppress my wood release? Naruto thought to himself. I've seen wood release 10 times stronger than this. If you wanted to surprise me, you should have at least used Flower Tree World. Poof! In a puff of white smoke, Naruto's shadow clone appeared in midair at the boundary between fire and wood. The clone's hand buzzed with spinning wind blades as it hurled them downward. * Sage Art. Wind Release. Raisin Shuriken. *. Boom! The violent winds merged with the blazing flames, completely consuming the forest. The approaching wave of fire sent Danzo into a panic. He even has the energy to use shadow clones and such a powerful fire release at the same time. But after this attack, his sage mode should run out. Sizzle. Sure enough, The orange markings around Naruto's eyes gradually faded as his Sage Mode dissipated. Danzo glanced at his right arm, where 3 Sharingan remained open. There's no time to waste. Now's my chance. He pulled out a vial of his own blood and used it to perform a summoning jutsu. Poof! Amid a cloud of smoke, the Baku appeared. It opened its massive mouth, sucking in the raging flames at the cost of its own life, and vanished with a scream. SSSSHH. Using the opening created by sacrificing his summoned beast, Danzo infused wind chakra into his shuriken and hurled them forward in rapid succession, using them as a diversion while charging at Naruto. With his Rinnegan, Naruto's visual perception had far surpassed his former self. He easily tracked the trajectory of every wind-release shuriken, dodging them nimbly. For those he couldn't avoid, he skillfully used kunai to deflect them through the holes in the shuriken. Most importantly, he refrained from using Shinra Tensei. As long as he kept that technique in reserve, Danzo wouldn't dare approach recklessly to steal his eyes. Frustrated by his failed attempts to bait Naruto into using his techniques, Danzo frowned and formed another set of seals. Wind release, vacuum wave, whoosh, a powerful gust of wind, sharp as a sickle, shot from Danzo's mouth, sweeping across the battlefield. Naruto leaped into the air, his body horizontal as the wind narrowly grazed his back. Danzo's eyes hardened as he slammed his right hand onto the ground. Would release, violent spear technique, boom. Sharp wooden spikes erupted from the ground directly beneath Naruto. Exclamation point. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. Poof! A substitution jutsu activated, and the wooden spikes pierced a log instead. Naruto landed safely 5 meters away. At the same time, his second shadow clone, which had been storing Sage Chakra, dispelled itself, allowing Naruto to re-enter Sage Mode. TCH, what a troublesome brat. But if I calculate correctly, my right eye's ability should be ready to activate by now. Note: in this timeline, Danzo didn't use Kodo Amatsukami on the daimyo of the Land of Fire, so its cooldown time has been shortened. Danzo calculated in his mind as he glanced at his right arm to check the remaining time for Izanagi. To his shock, he saw that the number of open Sharingan hadn't changed. It was still 3. Impossible! It was 3 just now, so why is it still 3? Hiss! Danzo drew a sharp breath, realizing a catastrophic truth. Could it be that Izanagi hadn't activated? Unbeknownst to him, his excessive use of wood release beyond his capacity had drained his chakra to the point where it fell below the threshold required to activate Izanagi. Naruto's eyes gleamed as a smirk spread across his face. Danzo panicked. No! Swish! In the next instant, Naruto teleported directly in front of Danzo using the flying Raijin mark he'd left on him earlier. His left hand traced a swift arc, slash, accompanied by a spray of blood. Danzo's right eye was forcibly gouged from its socket. Ugh, hi! Danzo screamed in agony, clutching his bleeding eye as he staggered backward. Crack, crack, crack. To make matters worse, the arm implanted with Hashirama cells began to lose control. Orochimaru sighed. Danzo is finished. The gap in strength is now painfully clear. At this point, Naruto-kun has already surpassed the level of a Hokage. Naruto held a blood-soaked, still warm eyeball in his hand. Orochimaru retrieved a jar filled with a nutrient solution and nonchalantly tossed it to Naruto. Thanks, Dash. Naruto gave a casual word of gratitude, opened the jar, and gently placed Shursue's eye, its optic nerve still intact, into the container before sealing it. He thought to himself, I heard that during his final battle with Sasuke, Danzo sealed this eye. While I could break that seal, it would have taken a lot of effort. Being able to retrieve it like this is much better. Arg! Suddenly, Naruto lost control of his power. The wood sprouting from his right shoulder began to grow wildly toward the sky. This isn't good. At this rate, I'll be consumed by the first Hokage's cells. Crack! Gritting his teeth, Naruto severed his right arm, collapsing to the ground, panting heavily. Danzo, now stripped of his claws and fangs, had become a true paper tiger. Rustle. Paper butterflies fluttered through the air, converging to form the figure of Konan. Naruto greeted her with a light-hearted smile. Konan's voice was cold. It seems everything went smoothly. More or less, Naruto replied casually, though it cost me about 20% of my chakra. He then asked, how's Sasuke? Konan responded, as you instructed, I kept him occupied. But that boy is incredibly persistent. He chased me relentlessly. I calculated the timing and managed to withdraw just in time. I see, Naruto chuckled. That sounds just like Sasuke. Suddenly, in sage mode, Naruto sensed something. He turned toward the distant forest and sighed. So, they've come after all, Conan remarked. One of his subordinates is a girl with exceptional sensory abilities. Orochimaru added. That must be Karen, one of my former subordinates. Like you, Naruto-kun. She's also a descendant of the Uzumaki clan and possesses extraordinary sensory abilities. Naruto reminisced. Ah, I know her. Before long, Team Taka arrived, stopping some distance away from Naruto and the others. Sasuke, with a dried bloodstain near his left eye, scanned the battlefield. His gaze lingered coldly on the defeated Danzo before locking onto Naruto's cloaked back. A flicker of emotion flashed in his eyes, only to be quickly concealed. He demanded coldly, Naruto, what is the meaning of this? Sasuke, I took care of Danzo for you. As you can see, he's now powerless and nothing more than a cripple. Naruto spoke calmly, still facing away from Sasuke. Yet his emotions were complicated, so much so that he didn't immediately turn to face him. Clenching his fists, Sasuke shouted, Who gave you the right to meddle? Naruto's back shifted slightly. If you had followed your original plan, you would have attacked the 5 Kage summit, right? Given your current status, doing so would only worsen your crimes. You wouldn't want to become a true enemy of the entire Shinobi world, would you? With that, Naruto raised his hand, removed the mask from his face, and slowly turned around. The swirling snow seemed to momentarily calm. Sasuke's expression turned to surprise. What happened to your left eye? The man who once tried to destroy Konoha and fought Minato. This eye was his parting gift before he died. Naruto replied internally. One day you will have it too, Sasuke. Behind Sasuke, the now childlike Yugo suddenly exclaimed upon seeing Naruto's face. I remember now. He's the one who attacked me by the river before. Huff! Sasuke closed his eyes. Naruto, it seems you've been busy while I was unaware. But I don't have time to deal with you right now. Swish! With his cloak billowing, Sasuke strode forward, heading straight for Danzo. Naruto felt a pang of regret. No matter what, you can't let Danzo live, can you, Sasuke? Although he didn't want Sasuke to take action, Naruto knew that at this stage, Sasuke's heart was filled with hatred, and with Tobi's instigation, it would be nearly impossible to dissuade him. If he didn't let Sasuke act now and vent his hatred, it might cause even more trouble in the future. With that thought, Naruto stepped aside, giving Sasuke a clear path. Crackle! Lightning release formed into a blade in Sasuke's hand as he glared at his enemy. He demanded coldly, Danzo, tell me, was it you who ordered Itachi to carry out the Uchiha clan massacre? Huff, huff, huff. Danzo panted heavily, his left eye glancing at his severed right arm, which still had 3 Sharingan embedded in it. Though he'd lost his arm, there were still some of Hashirama's cells left in his body, giving him just enough to activate one more Izanagi. Sasuke shouted, Answer me! Danzo's voice was weak but low. So, you've learned the truth. It seems Itachi couldn't keep his mouth shut. Sasuke's gaze turned icy. So it's true, then? Danzo admitted. Yes, it's true. Sasuke's eyes grew colder. Just as I thought. Danzo quickly reached for a Sharingan, plucking it out and inserting it into his right eye socket. The remaining Hashirama cells in his body connected the optic nerve. Forming a single-handed seal, a pale smile appeared on his lips. Sizzle. Izanagi activated. Then, without hesitation, he turned and fled at full speed. Humph! Sasuke snorted, his cloak flaring as he gave chase. Do you think you can escape? Sasuke's left eye locked onto Danzo's retreating figure. Amaterasu. Whoosh! Black flames erupted, engulfing Danzo's body. Arg! Danzo screamed in agony as he collapsed to the ground. But then, the burning Danzo vanished, his real body reappearing further away, still running. Sasuke was stunned. What? Naruto shouted. Sasuke. Danzo used Izanagi. Right now, he's invincible, but the effect will last less than a minute. Keep up your strongest attacks, and you can kill him. Sasuke's eyes flashed with determination. Huff, huff, huff. Danzo ran desperately, but his dwindling chakra filled him with despair. Am I really going to die here? Tap. Suddenly, Sasuke stopped his pursuit. Everyone was stunned. Sasuke. It doesn't matter. Let him live for today. A vengeance carried out through others' hands is not enough to purify the Uchiha clan to its highest glory. Sasuke slowly turned around, his Mangekyo Sharingan radiating an inscrutable darkness as he gazed at Naruto. Especially not you, Naruto. You're the last person I'd ever want to act on my behalf. In the swirling snow, Danzo's fleeing figure faded into the background. Naruto and Sasuke locked eyes, as if time had frozen. Whoosh! A strange vortex swirled as masked Tobi appeared. In the distance, near the land of Iron's border, Konoha's group raced through the snow. Leading the charge were Hinata and Sakura. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun. Conflicting beliefs were about to collide. Naruto and Sasuke faced each other in silence, as if some inevitable event was about to unfold. Orochimaru's eyes gleamed with anticipation, his heart filled with longing. The two winds I most look forward to are about to collide so soon. Sasuke, of course, noticed Orochimaru's presence. A man who shouldn't be here. His expression remained stoic as he thought. Orochimaru has returned as well. It seems like Naruto's doing. Was attacking Yugo part of this plan too? And earlier, when that woman from the Akatsuki blocked my path, was it to buy time to deal with Danzo? Naruto, with his identity, is doing the things I want to do. Is it just a coincidence? It's absurd. That idiot who only knows how to charge forward, why am I finding him harder to read? Damn it! Frustrated, Sasuke clenched his fists tightly. Whoosh! A strange vortex stirred, and Tobi, wearing his mask, descended upon the scene. Everyone turned to look. Their expressions varied. Konan's gaze was icy cold, her entire being on high alert. Orochimaru's thoughts were unreadable, but his guarded stance was evident. Naruto pulled his mask back over his face, his thoughts turbulent. Tobi, he's appeared sooner than I anticipated. He's one of the very few I consider an SSR-level threat. I must tread carefully. Note: during Boruto's era, a ninja card game became popular. The 7th Hokage Naruto was classified as an SSR-level card. Since then, he has used SSR to describe those on par with him. Tobi, who had been searching for Naruto, now found him standing right in front of him. Yet, upon meeting him, he remained unusually calm. Go ahead and talk. Don't mind me. He adjusted his robe and sat down leisurely, exuding an air of unshakable composure, as if he were a fisherman calmly awaiting a storm. The more he acted this way, the harder it was to ignore him. Rustle, rustle, rustle. The white Zetsu accompanying Sasuke emerged from the ground beside Tobi, whispering in a voice only the two of them could hear. Is it all right? Nagato's Rinnegan is within reach, Tobi replied. At this point, there's no rush. With Orochimaru and Konan here, it's not going to be easy to get it. White Zetsu asked, how's the 5 Kage summit going? After a moment of thought, Tobi said, Naruto got there first. After some consideration, I realized now isn't the best time to declare war. Kisame has already gone to hunt the 8 tails. With Naruto, the 9 tails Jinchuriki, defecting from Konoha, he's become a target for everyone. The purpose of war is merely to capture the tailed beasts within these two. If there's an easier way, why resort to full-scale war? By a twist of fate, the 4th Great Ninja War, which should have begun immediately, was thus postponed. White Zetsu sighed. I can't help but feel that sending Nagato to Konoha was a mistake. Our original plan has completely deviated from expectations. Regret is useless now. I underestimated Naruto back then. Who could have imagined he'd take Nagato's Rinnegan, resurrect Orochimaru, and even turn Konan, who was working for me, over to his side? As he spoke, Tobi's gaze grew profound. Now, just how much has his power grown? Let me witness it myself. It seems he truly has no intention of making a move here. Naruto felt slightly relieved and withdrew his peripheral gaze. However, he continued to monitor Tobi's actions using Sage Mode's sensory abilities. Sasuke, indifferent to everything else, had his eyes solely on Naruto. He could no longer hold back and wanted to test Naruto's strength now. He commanded, Yugo, Suigetsu, keep an eye on the Akatsuki woman and Orochimaru. Understood. Whoosh! Yugo flashed in front of Konan, his cursed seal activated to the brink of rampage. Konan's expression remained calm. She stayed vigilant against Tobi and had no intention of holding back from the start. As for Suigetsu, gripping his most stylish blade, he said the most cowardly words, Orochimaru-sama, I'm so happy to see you revived. Orochimaru chuckled, teasing, Hehe, Suigetsu, my kawaii subordinate, you look quite spirited. I wonder if your skills have improved. Suigetsu forced a smile. You're joking, right? I'm just here to assist. Please don't make things difficult for me. Orochimaru laughed. Hehe, that sounds interesting. Should I ask Naruto-kun to spar with you for a bit? Suigetsu quickly replied. No need to ask. This is perfect as it is. Let's just maintain this tense atmosphere and have a pleasant chat. Karen adjusted her glasses and asked, Sasuke, what about me? Sasuke replied in a low voice, stay on the sidelines and provide support. Is Sasuke worried about me? Karen's inner monologue was dramatic, though her face remained concerned. If you get hurt, I can heal you. Humph. Sasuke snorted coldly and closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his Mangekyo Sharingan shone brilliantly. Get hurt? That's not going to happen. Whoosh! His hands flew through hand seals, his chest swelling. * fire release. Phoenix Sage fire technique. * whoosh, 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 whoosh. A series of fireballs shot out from his mouth, their trajectories resembling the fruit of a phoenix sage tree. They not only targeted Naruto but also sealed off all escape routes, leaving no room to dodge, only to defend. Though not a flashy technique, its practical effectiveness was outstanding, making it a favorite among elites like Itachi. Here it comes. Naruto's eyes lit up as he drew the katana he had carried from the 5 Kage summit. Moving forward, he swung the blade to deflect the incoming fireballs. Screech! The chirping of Chidori echoed. Using the cover of the fireballs, Sasuke closed in with incredible speed. His eyes locked on Naruto as he thrust forward with lightning in hand. Clang! Naruto's left hand swung the blade to repel the remaining fireballs, while his right hand instantly formed a Rinnegan to meet the attack head-on. Boom! The clash of Rinnegan and Chidori created a roaring shockwave. When the dust settled, both figures retreated simultaneously. Humph! Sasuke smirked as he unsheathed his Kusanagi sword and dashed forward. Naruto met him head-on, wielding his katana. Clang! 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 Their blades collided fiercely, sparks flying. Even the falling snow couldn't approach their battlefield. The more Sasuke fought, the more shocked he became. When did the rough and reckless Naruto, who always relied on brute force and chakra reserves, master such refined swordsmanship? Naruto, too, was filled with admiration. Sasuke's swordsmanship, honed from a young age and enhanced by the Sharingan, was truly exceptional. Back then, after sealing Kaguya, I spent a lot of effort making up for my lack of basic ninja skills. How about this? Frustrated by the stalemate, Sasuke infused his Kusanagi sword with crackling lightning release chakra. I can do that too. Naruto followed suit, enveloping his katana with whistling wind release chakra. Clang! Their blades clashed, their eyes meeting. Sasuke coldly remarked, Is your left eye just for show? Naruto replied, I don't want to use the power of this eye against a friend. A flicker of emotion crossed Sasuke's eyes before it was replaced by coldness. Still so naive. You'll regret it. Buzz! Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan glowed ominously. Genjutsu. Sharingan. Naruto was puzzled. Why are you staring at me? Sasuke was stunned. My Genjutsu doesn't work on him? Naruto's Rinnegan completely nullified Sasuke's Sharingan Genjutsu, to the point where he didn't even realize Sasuke had used it. Screech! Library! Enough! Sasuke sheathed his sword and stepped back, his eyes radiating genuine coldness. Drip! A line of blood trickled from the corner of his left eye, falling onto the snow, where it spread like a spiderweb. Naruto, if you don't get serious, you'll die. Amaterasu. Chapter 6. The Oncoming Turmoil. Amaterasu is theoretically an unavoidable technique, with the exception of someone like the Raikage, who possesses extraordinary reflexes, and the lightning release body flicker technique. While Sage Mode enhances sensory abilities and taijutsu, it is still insufficient to dodge visual-based dojutsu like Amaterasu. During the battle between Itachi and Sasuke, there was a moment of setting oneself on fire, which the observant understood well. Boom! Black flames erupted on Naruto's body, and the intense heat immediately made his expression tense. Ugh! It's so hot. At this rate, I'm really going to be burned to death. In their previous battle, Sasuke had also used Amaterasu on Naruto. Back then, Naruto's solution was to use the Ninetales chakra to isolate Amaterasu and peel away the flames. At this moment, the Ninetales was unwilling to lend chakra to Naruto, even closing off their chakra channel, making that method unusable. Using the powers of the Rinnegan's Deva Path and Preta Path could easily dispel Amaterasu. But Naruto had previously stated that he wouldn't use the Rinnegan's abilities against Sasuke in this fight. Sasuke kept his left eye partially closed, watching Naruto intently through the gap between his fingers. Murderous intent flickered in his eyes. The left eye released Amaterasu, while the right eye controlled its shape transformation, including extinguishing it. Still not planning to use your left eye's ability? Or is it that your left eye is only capable of this much? In any case, I won't extinguish these flames. Let them burn, Naruto. Once you're dead, no one will be able to stop me. I can finally wage my lone war of vengeance against Danzo and Konoha. Naruto pulled out a scroll from his cloak, quickly scribbling incantations with a pen from his ninja tool pouch. Once done, he bit the pen's shaft and pressed both hands on the scroll. **fire sealing method. Whoosh! All the Amaterasu flames flowed into the scroll's center, forming a character for fire, surrounded by black incantations in the blank space. Though the Amaterasu flames had burned his body, it was unavoidable. The experts observing from the sidelines were moved in their own ways. Conan. That's Jiraiya-sensei's technique, Orochimaru. To perform such a complex fire-sealing method so smoothly while being burned by Amaterasu requires extraordinary endurance and precision. I'm increasingly curious, Naruto-kun, about what you've experienced during my time sealed away to grow this much. Tobi. He and Sasuke are no longer on the same level. Naruto calmly put away the pen and scroll and stood up, asking, "Shall we continue? Sasuke, don't get cocky. You loser." Sasuke clenched his fists tightly, responding to his inner rage as dark purple chakra manifested outside his body. Karen shivered. It's that chakra, as cold as falling into an ice cellar. The purple chakra sublimated, solidifying into a skeletal frame. What can you do about this? Sasuke's arrogance was at an all-time high. Susanoo. Huh. How nostalgic. Naruto's expression turned solemn as he formed a seal with 4 fingers in front of his chest. Poof. A shadow clone appeared from the smoke, infusing wind release into the Rinnegan forming in Naruto's left hand. Buzzing. Accompanied by the screech of wind blades, the Raisin Shuriken took shape. Sasuke's pupils shrank. What is that? A strengthened version of the wind release. Rinnegan? Poof. The shadow clone dispersed. Catch this, Sasuke. Naruto charged and threw it at Sasuke. **Sage art. Wind release. Raisin Shuriken. Whoosh. The Raisin Shuriken tore through the air, and Sasuke relied on Susanoo to take it head-on. Boom. The storm exploded, engulfing the spot where Sasuke stood in an instant. Ugh! The storm spreading outward forced Yugo and others observing the battle to retreat. Crack, crack. Amidst the storm, the sound of bones shattering could be heard. Karen screamed, "Sasuke!" As the storm gradually subsided, Sasuke remained unharmed, but Susanoo's skeleton was nearly shattered, leaving only a thin layer of purple covering his body. Sasuke hung his head low, his shoulders trembling, his expression dark. Again and again, snap, snap, snap. New bone sprouts emerged from the purple exterior. Sasuke suddenly raised his head, his gaze ferocious as he shouted, "How many times do you want to provoke me until you're satisfied?" Ah! Boom! The dark purple skeleton reared up, with extra chakra forming muscles around the bones, and soon, an outer garment manifested. Susanoo advanced to another stage. Tobi's gaze was deep. Yes, just like that. Keep pushing Sasuke to grow, Naruto. Snap, snap. In Susanoo's left hand, a magnificent longbow formed, while a mighty arrow appeared in the right. Naruto's eyes flickered. The Totsuka bow, Sasuke's Susanoo's divine weapon, has appeared. Snap, snap, snap. The bow was drawn. Arrow knocked, aimed directly at Naruto. Exclamation point. Naruto dared not be careless. He pushed his Sage Mode sensory abilities to the limit, leaning back with all his might, his left hand releasing a surge of chakra. As the great arrow approached, he thrust the Sage Art Super Big Ball Rinnegan upward. Boom! With a muffled sound, the great arrow veered off course, shooting into the forest behind, raising a cloud of dust. Having witnessed Naruto's previous prowess, Sasuke was no longer as shocked. The first shot being deflected was within his expectations. Huff, 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 huff. Every cell in my body is in pain. Is this what Itachi felt back then? Sasuke panted heavily, enduring the pain as another arrow formed, knocking it onto the bowstring, pulling it taut. The same trick won't work twice. This arrow will have even more force, and it won't be deflected by you. Whoosh! An arrow with even greater force tore through the air. Snap! No choice. Naruto bit his finger and pressed his single hand onto the ground. Orochimaru's eyes sparkled. This is *triple Rashomon. Bang, bang, bang. 3 massive gates adorned with demonic faces, bristling with fierce iron spikes and adorned with bells, rose before him. Bang, bang, bang. The great arrow pierced through 2 Rashomon gates in succession, embedding halfway into the third, its tip about a meter from Naruto. Poof! The Rashomon vanished in a puff of white smoke, taking the arrow with it. Amidst the drifting snow of the land of iron, Sasuke, with his eyes unfocused from overusing his dojutsu, stared at Naruto and asked a complicated question. Naruto? What exactly are you? Naruto replied sincerely, I'm your friend past, present, future, that has never changed. Friend? Hehehe. Sasuke chuckled absurdly before asking in a deep voice, then if I want to destroy the village, will you lend me a hand? Answer me. Well. Naruto lightly pinched his chin, his gaze carrying the weight of years. How about this time I use my right hand instead? Sasuke asked in confusion. Right hand? What do you mean? Well. Naruto took a deep breath and extended his left hand. Do you remember what happened back in the Ninja Academy? What Iruka-sensei asked us to do afterward? Sasuke lowered his gaze, recalling. The two of them had a scuffle in the training field and were eventually ordered to form the seal of reconciliation. Back then, Sasuke used his left hand to form the seal. So this time it's the right hand. Is that what you mean? Sasuke pondered. What you're implying is that if I destroy Konoha, not only will you not lend me a hand, but you'll also break my left hand so I can never form seals again? Pfft. Naruto couldn't help but laugh. Sasuke pressed on. Answer me. Naruto's mischievous side emerged, as if he was sulking or deliberately provoking Sasuke. Ah. Yes. You got it right. I'll break your hand. Sasuke was infuriated. So that's how it is. You arrogant fool. Speaking of the past, did you forget who was defeated at the Valley of the End? If I had intended to forget your left hand, your life would have been over. Indeed, Naruto had lost at the Valley of the End back then, and Sasuke had every opportunity to kill him. But many people overlooked an important detail. At the moment of close combat, Naruto's Rinnegan was aimed diagonally upward, targeting Sasuke's forehead protector. The scratch in the middle of the protector was left by Naruto's sharp claw during his tailed beast transformation. Meanwhile, Sasuke's Chidori was aimed diagonally downward, striking Naruto's chest at a critical point. Had it been otherwise, the one who fell might not have been Naruto. Naruto's expression was reminiscent. Then he gently said, Don't take it seriously. Can't you see I'm joking with you? Sasuke's expression softened slightly, but he quickly retorted coldly, I'm not joking with you. You keep saying you consider me a friend, yet you mock me with your words. Stop underestimating me. Do you think I don't know anything? You're now Konoha's hero, the darling of the ignorant masses. If I want to destroy Konoha, you'd be my #1 enemy. Naruto pondered. I've already betrayed Konoha. What? Sasuke was stunned, only then noticing that the forehead protector Naruto wore was the one he had left behind, symbolizing a rogue ninja. Sasuke turned to look at Tobi. Earlier, in the forest outside Konoha, Tobi had only mentioned the 5 Kage summit and Danzo becoming Hokage, briefly mentioning Naruto defeating Pain but not a word about him defecting from the village. Tobi's masked face revealed no emotion. Sasuke turned back to Naruto and asked, What's really going on? Naruto replied, My goals are at odds with the village's ideals, so I must leave the village's constraints to act. Sasuke's eyes flickered with a hint of inexplicable disappointment. So, your move against Danzo was for your own purposes, not to clear obstacles for me? People are such complex creatures. If it's for you, it feels like meddling, but knowing it wasn't for you, there's resentment. Naruto sighed. That's not entirely true. It's half and half. I thought if you killed Danzo, it might ease your hatred, and maybe you wouldn't turn your vengeance toward the village. But you let Danzo go out of spite. I underestimated your current thirst for revenge. This will surely lead to trouble in the future. Sasuke clenched his fists tightly, and the chakra of Susanoo around him wavered. Naruto's expression turned serious. Sasuke, if you seek revenge on Danzo again, I still won't stop you, but beyond Danzo, I hope you don't harm others. Sasuke's gaze turned cold. What if I insist? Naruto responded firmly. Then I will do everything in my power to stop you. Sasuke's tone grew colder. You're saying you still have strength to spare? Naruto replied without hesitation. At least I haven't gone all out. Hehehe. Sasuke chuckled lightly. He was arrogant but not foolish, knowing Naruto's words were true. However, he retorted coldly, Yes, your power has grown, but what do you understand about me? Do you know the real reason for my revenge against Konoha? Naruto made a startling revelation, Ah, I know. About Itachi's truth. What? Sasuke was shocked. That's the highest secret. How do you know? Could it be? He turned to look at Tobi again. Tobi shook his head, indicating it wasn't him who told Naruto. In fact, Naruto had indeed learned from Tobi in another timeline. Tobi thought, this kid Naruto, I really underestimated him in the past, Sasuke said coldly. Since you know what Itachi went through, you still want to stop my revenge? Naruto said. If Itachi were alive, he would definitely not want you to do this. Sasuke's shoulders trembled. Itachi was his reverse scale. Touch it and he would be enraged. Even if Naruto was someone special to him, it didn't mean he could comment on Itachi, whether positively or negatively. He had no idea that Naruto wasn't making baseless claims. He had indeed interacted with Itachi, more than once. Don't act like you understand Itachi so well. And don't use Itachi's name to interfere with my revenge. Naruto. Boom. Responding to Sasuke's furious emotions, the purple chakra surged outward, forming a majestic armor around the existing Susanoo. This was the ultimate form of the half-body Susanoo, the Tengu form. Boom! The powerful and cold chakra shook the hearts of Team Taka and made the experts present take notice. Karen trembled incessantly. He's completely not the Sasuke from before. Tobi's gaze was dark. Oh, to push Susanoo to this level at once, indeed, for Sasuke, the best catalyst isn't the 5 Kage. But you, Naruto, boom, boom. The Totsuka bow was drawn tight again, but this time paired with the blaze release. Kagetsuchi arrow? Its scale and power were on another level. Sasuke's pupils showed genuine killing intent. Naruto, I don't want to hear your endless chatter anymore. You're too much of a hindrance. I will eliminate you here. Then raise Danzo and Konoha to the ground. Naruto's expression turned solemn. This form of Susanoo is a qualitative change, and that arrow can no longer be resolved by ordinary means. Whoosh! The black flame arrow tore through the air. Enough! Naruto closed his eyes, and when he reopened them, the brilliance of his dojutsu flowed within. Shinra Tensei. Boom! A repulsive force field erupted, shattering the solid black flame arrow into fragments of black flames that fell to the ground. Tobi's gaze darkened. Finally willing to use the Rinnegan's powers, Sage Mode detected something. The battle here has already attracted external attention. A large number of chakras are approaching. Let's end this quickly. Naruto formed seals with his hands, gathering an unprecedented amount of chakra. Poof, poof, poof. Hundreds and thousands of shadow clones appeared with a burst of white smoke, each one forming a super big ball Rinnegan, converging on Sasuke's Susanoo. Sage art. Super big ball Rinnegan barrage. Boom, 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 boom. Layer upon layer of spheres covered Susanoo completely, the waves of explosions rising and falling, and the sturdy armor of Susanoo was brought to the brink of collapse under this relentless sage art bombardment. Sasuke raged. Where did he get this power? Splat. Naruto dipped his hand in the blood from the wound Amaterasu had burned earlier and formed seals. Summoning. Food cart destroyer technique. The massive toad Gamakichi, with a sash around his waist, descended from the sky, becoming the last straw that broke Susanoo. Ugh! Before Susanoo shattered, Sasuke leaped out with all his might. Naruto extended his palm. Bansho Tenin. Whoosh! The powerful gravitational pull drew Sasuke in from a distance. Sasuke reacted swiftly, forming seals with his hands as he approached, leveraging the gravitational pull. Fire release. Great fireball technique. Naruto stood firm, maintaining Bansho Tenin, activating the Rinnegan's protective barrier, isolating the flames while grabbing Sasuke's throat. Predapath. Whoosh! Sasuke's chakra flowed into Naruto through his palm. Sasuke smirked. So this is your left eye's ability. Naruto apologized. Sorry, but this is the only way to calm you down. If you keep overusing your dojutsu, your eyes will go blind early. Sizzle. As the chakra drained, Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan regressed to the 3-Tomo Sharingan. Then the Tomo faded, leaving ordinary, dull eyes. Before losing consciousness, Sasuke murmured intriguingly, "Heh! Such things no longer matter." Seeing Sasuke lose consciousness, Naruto gently laid him on the snow, sighed softly, and retreated. Sasuke! Karen ran forward. Whoosh! But Tobi, with his masked face, appeared beside Sasuke first, lifting him onto his shoulder. His right eye spiraled, absorbing both Sasuke and Karen. Go restore Sasuke's chakra. Eek! Swish! Swish! Konan and Orochimaru arrived at Naruto's sides. Konan asked with concern. How is it? Are you okay? Naruto smiled. Sorry, I've overused my chakra a bit. The situation ahead might be troublesome. I'll have to rely on you two more. Konan smiled gently. Of course, heh. Orochimaru's lips curled up. As expected, you still couldn't bring yourself to completely drain Sasuke's chakra. To this, Naruto remained silent. To the south, led by Mifune, the samurai of the Land of Iron and the other Kage, except for Danzo, arrived one after another. To the north, in the snowstorm, silhouettes could be faintly seen running. They were all young and wore Konoha forehead protectors. Seeing this, Tobi's expression under the mask was subtle. Oh well, this time I'll be a complete outsider. Think carefully about how to wrap this up. And remember to protect the Rinnegan. It's my treasure, Naruto. Whoosh! With a swirling vortex, he and Zetsu disappeared into the mysterious whirlpool. Crack! With lightning speed, Raikage A and his two bodyguards arrived first. Gazing at the Amaterasu flames remaining on the snow, Kumogakure Jonin-C said, the inextinguishable flames of Amaterasu are Itachi's exclusive dojutsu, but Itachi is dead, so there's only one person who could use it, Darui said. Not long ago, was it Uchiha Sasuke who was here? Raikage roared angrily at Naruto. Where is Sasuke? Where did Sasuke? Naruto paid no attention, for at that moment, his entire focus was drawn to the figure at the forefront of another group, full of urgency. Hinata! Huff! 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 Hinata stopped in her tracks, sweat streaming down her exhausted face, freezing into icicles in the wind and snow. Ahead, a crowd had gathered, but in her Byakugan, all she could see was Naruto. Naruto's eyes trembled violently, his heart aching with pity. How far did you run to get here? After so many years, seeing each other again should have been a joyous reunion, but the shadows of past events cast a somber tone over the moment. Before him was the anxious girl he cared for deeply. Behind him were the watchful and hostile Raikage and his men. Please, don't come any closer, Naruto silently pleaded in his heart. Naruto-kun. Hinata couldn't contain her urgency and was about to step forward. Whoosh! Suddenly, a shadow extended from behind, connecting to Hinata's feet. Shadow imitation jutsu. Asterisk. In the sky above, ink-formed birds flew by. Shikamaru, whose leg had been broken during Pain's attack on the village, sat atop one of the birds, forming hand seals. Hinata, I understand how you feel, but now isn't the time. Look at the situation on the field. If you go now, you'll only distract Naruto. Hinata bit her lip, suppressing her overwhelming emotions. Naruto felt a surge of gratitude in his heart. Shikamaru. Thank you. See, one of the Raikage guards observed the scene and commented, Konoha's people. Judging by their age, they must be his peers. Two from the Hyuga clan, no less. The long-standing tension between Kumogakure and the Hyuga clan made the Byakugan a particular focus of attention. Darui's gaze fixed on Niji. I've seen this kid during a mission. Niji Hyuga, one of Konoha's youngest and most capable jonin. It's a pity he's from the branch family, destined to be a caged bird. Sending such a green and inexperienced team to deal with their rogue ninja Konoha is as pretentious as ever. Let me beat Uzumaki Naruto half to death, drag him back to the Kumogakure prison, and interrogate him for Sasuke's whereabouts. Crack, crack, the Raikage cracked his neck, lightning surging around his body, and charged at Naruto with blinding speed. Too fast. Even Konan and Orochimaru, standing beside Naruto, couldn't react in time. All they saw was a flash of lightning before Naruto was sent flying. Whoosh! Naruto braced himself with a katana against the Raikage's punch, sliding across the snowy ground. Humph! The Raikage snorted, increasing the force of his punch. Crack! Naruto's katana shattered under the pressure. Thanks to the sensory abilities of Sage Mode, Naruto managed to sidestep the punch at the last moment, but the Raikage turned his fist into a hand blade, slashing horizontally at Naruto's right shoulder. Crack! The sound of a dislocated joint echoed as pain flashed across Naruto's face. He activated the power of his left eye. Asterisk Pretapath. Asterisk. Zap! The lightning armor surrounding the Raikage dissipated, transforming into pure chakra that was absorbed by Naruto. Ha! The Raikage's expression showed his surprise. Crash! At that moment, Konan sent paper infused with explosive tags flying toward the Raikage's back. Boom! 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 The explosion erupted at point-blank range. Naruto took the opportunity to retreat, grabbing his right shoulder with his left hand. With a forceful push, crack, his dislocated shoulder was reset. He thought to himself, that was close. If I hadn't absorbed that troublesome lightning chakra in time, it wouldn't have been just a dislocation. C watched the explosion site nervously. Hey, is the boss okay? Darui remained calm. Even without the protection of the lightning chakra mode, that level of explosion won't hurt the boss. Sure enough, the Raikage emerged unscathed, his eyes wide with fury. Humph, it seems you've obtained quite the eye. You used its power earlier at the summit to counter Inoki's dust release, didn't you? But unfortunately, there's a brief delay between being hit and activating the absorption. That tiny delay is enough for me to kill you 3 times over. Zap! An even more intense surge of lightning enveloped the Raikage, his hair standing on end like sharp spikes. Darui remarked, "Oh, to deal with the Ninetales Jinchuriki, the boss has cranked that move up to maximum power." The Raikage roared. This level 2 lightning release chakra mode was honed specifically to counter the yellow flash of Konoha. Too bad the yellow flash is already dead. So I'll settle for finishing off his son right here. Naruto's mind raced. The lightning release chakra mode, a powerful taijutsu technique passed down through generations of Raikage. Each user has their own unique strengths. The 4th Raikage's defense isn't as strong as his father's, but his speed surpasses it. Even though I've learned the flying Raijin without Kurama's chakra, my reflexes still can't match my father's. Darui called out, "Boss, weren't we supposed to capture him alive to interrogate him about Sasuke's whereabouts?" The Raikage replied, "Doesn't matter. As long as that brat keeps causing trouble, finding him will only be a matter of time." Boom! As he spoke, the Raikage charged at Naruto with unstoppable force, his speed so great that even a single Rinnegan struggled to keep up. Fortunately, Sage Mode could still sense the impending danger. Shinra Tensei. Boom! An omnidirectional force field exploded outward. Thud! The Raikage's charging form came to an abrupt halt right in front of Naruto, his lightning-clad fist mere inches from Naruto's face. Damn it! The Raikage planted his feet firmly, trying to push his fist forward another half-inch. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't close the gap. After a tense moment, with a muffled bang, the Raikage was blasted backward, landing in front of Darui and C. Swish! Swish! Orochimaru and Konan once again moved to shield Naruto. This time, Konan scattered a large number of paper sheets, while Orochimaru summoned several large serpents. Naruto covered his left eye, his heart still racing. The Raikage, when he gets serious, is truly terrifying. Just now, he almost resisted Shinra Tensei. Orochimaru commented, "The Raikage's combat style makes him a natural counter to you in your current state. His overwhelming power combined with absolute speed, anyone who lets their guard down for a moment could lose their life." Konan added, "But if you had both Rinnegan, you'd be able to track his movements precisely, and the Deva Path's techniques wouldn't reach their limits so easily." Naruto reflected, "Ultimately, my chakra at this stage isn't strong enough. I've relied too much on Kurama's power in the past. Even the sustainability of Sage Mode required Kurama's cooperation. The gap between me and the first Hokage is immense, and thinking back, if not for the Sage of Six Paths granting me power midway, how could we have defeated Madara or even Kagaya? The road ahead is still long. This time, I'll find a different way to achieve true strength." Darui remarked, "Boss, the enemy's eyes are troublesome, and he has 2 strong allies. It'll be hard to take him down quickly." The Raikage turned to the others behind him. "Are you all just going to stand there and watch?" Mifune replied politely, "Raikage-sama, the 2 subordinates they impersonated earlier have been found unharmed. Since this is a matter between ninja, we samurai won't interfere for now. My back is killing me. I'll leave this to you young folks." Inoki clutched his lower back, glancing at Gaara out of the corner of his eye. He thought to himself, "Since earlier, the Kazekage has been glaring daggers at me." Mei Terumi said, "This is the land of iron. If we ninja act recklessly, it might seem disrespectful to our hosts." Gaara reiterated, "I'll say it again. I trust Naruto. He wouldn't do anything to harm the interests of the ninja world." What a bunch of spineless fools. Seeing that none of the other Kage intended to act, the Raikage gritted his teeth and shouted at Naruto again, "Uzumaki Naruto, I know Uchiha Sasuke was just here. Where did he go? Tell me now, this is your last chance." "Sasuke was just here?" Hearing this, Sakura, standing behind Hinata, looked shocked. Naruto, however, smiled and said, "Raikage, why do you insist on making things difficult for Sasuke?" The Raikage roared. "Damn it, he killed my brother." Naruto replied, "Your brother, Killer Bee, is still alive, but he's already been targeted by the Akatsuki. If you act quickly, you might still make it in time." The Raikage froze in shock. "What did you say?" The Raikage's eyes widened in disbelief. "Are you serious?" Naruto turned his head slightly and replied, "Absolutely. In front of all the Kage here, do you think I would dare spout nonsense?" MMHMHMHM. The Raikage clenched his fists tightly. In the end, his concern for his brother's safety outweighed everything else. Crack! The lightning release chakra mode dissipated as the Raikage prepared to leave. Before departing, he left behind a harsh warning. "Naruto Uzumaki, I'll let you off the hook for now, but Uchiha Sasuke has stained his hands with the blood of Kumogakure. If he falls into my hands, I swear he won't leave alive. And you'd better watch yourself." Naruto responded with a meaningful smile. "Very well, I look forward to it." This was no mere pleasantry. In the future, Naruto would cross paths with the Raikage many times. In fact, not long after, they would engage in an epic battle of taijutsu in the secret grounds of Kumogakure, the Valley of Hell. Inoki adjusted his Tsuchikage hat and sighed. "Well, this was quite the show. Worth the trip. Who knows when the next 5 Kage summit will be?" Mei Terumi's charming eyes shifted toward him. "Tsuchikage-sama, are you heading back already? Since you're here in the Land of Iron, why not experience the famous hot springs? They might even help with your back pain." "Wow!" Kuratsuchi's eyes lit up, clearly tempted by the idea. Hot springs were not exclusive to the Land of Iron, but in this frigid climate, they were particularly appealing. Inoki replied thoughtfully, "Humph, with so much unrest in the shinobi world, I can't shake the feeling that there are forces stirring in the shadows. I'd better return to the village to keep watch." After all, Danzo had mentioned during the summit that the leader of the Akatsuki was Uchiha Madara. That claim was unlikely to be baseless. The name Madara alone was enough to send ripples through the world. Mei Terumi's expression also turned serious. Inoki's tone grew grave. "Danzo's disgraceful escape today has surely jeopardized his position as Hokage. But we can't rule out the possibility of him resorting to other schemes. I propose we Kage jointly petition the daimyo of the Land of Fire to impeach him. What do you think?" Mei Terumi nodded. "I'm more than willing. The ideology of Root poses a threat to the interests of the Land of Water." Gaara silently observed Naruto, his gaze complex. Temari placed a hand on his shoulder and whispered, "No matter what, he's now a rogue ninja of Konoha. You're the Kazekage. Remember your position." "Yes, I understand." Gaara turned away reluctantly, silently hoping, "Naruto, I hope that one day, you'll tell me what truly happened." Unnoticed by most, Suigetsu had already slipped away with Yugo. Apart from Naruto, Konan, and Orochimaru, the only ones left were Mifune and his samurai, along with the Konoha delegation. Naruto turned to Mifune. "Mifune-sama, I apologize for the trouble caused today. I still have matters to discuss with the Konoha ninja. Could we impose on your hospitality a little longer?" Mifune replied, "You must leave the Land of Iron by midnight at the latest." Naruto nodded. "Thank you." Mifune departed with his men. The samurai, who had long maintained a neutral stance in the shinobi world, adhered to their code of Bushido more out of survival than principle. As long as their interests were not threatened, they preferred not to meddle in the conflicts of ninja. Yet Mifune was a man of great conviction. In a previous life, when Obito declared war during the summit, Mifune had led his samurai to join the fight against the Akatsuki for the sake of the world's safety. For this reason, Naruto maintained a basic level of respect for him. Orochimaru, ever perceptive, spoke up before Naruto could. "Naruto-kun, I'll excuse myself for now." Naruto replied, "Go ahead. Wait for me at the usual spot. I'll be there shortly." Konan and Orochimaru left. With everyone else gone, the snowy field became eerily quiet, save for the crackling of black flames. Perhaps it was the psychological effect of the flames, or perhaps it was the tension of facing his former lover and comrades again, but Naruto wiped away a bead of sweat. The Konoha delegation felt a similar sense of loss. Naruto's deliberate reference to them as Konoha ninja during his conversation with Mifune stung deeply. It signified that Naruto had formally severed ties with them. The atmosphere was heavy. No one spoke. Hinata, in particular, seemed utterly dejected, her shoulders slumped and her face obscured by shadows. Whoosh! In the sky above, A large bird dissolved into ink as Sai landed, supporting Shikamaru, whose right leg was in a cast. Sai, known for his lack of social awareness, bluntly asked, "Where is Danzo-sama?" Naruto answered without hesitation, "He's alive. I intended to kill him, but Sasuke appeared and wanted to take revenge himself. However, Sasuke refused to use me as a tool for his vengeance, so we let him go." Exclamation point. The sheer weight of this revelation left everyone momentarily stunned. Shikamaru, the sharpest among them, quickly pieced things together and asked pointedly, "No matter what, Danzo is still the Hokage right now. By attacking him, you've placed yourself in direct opposition to Konoha, haven't you, Naruto?" Naruto's gaze darkened, but he soon steeled himself. "That's correct, you idiot." Sakura could no longer contain her anger. She stepped forward and delivered a powerful punch. Naruto could have dodged, but he chose not to. He was sent flying by the blow. Crash! Sakura lunged at him, grabbing his collar and shaking him violently. "Do you even know what you're saying?" Naruto replied coldly and calmly. "Haven't I made myself clear enough?" Sakura grew even more agitated. "Liar! Where is the Naruto who was always so determined and kept his promises? Where is the Naruto who dreamed of becoming Hokage?" Naruto glanced at Hinata, who was watching in pain, and swallowed his own bitterness. "That was then. This is now. Shink." Sakura drew a kunai and pressed it against Naruto's neck. "Don't joke around. Do you believe I'll kill you right here and now?" Everyone knew Sakura wouldn't actually harm Naruto. She lowered the kunai, her fragile emotions breaking through. Tears welled up in her eyes as she said, "Naruto, just tell me the truth. Is this because of that promise you made to me? Did it put so much pressure on you that you ended up like this?" This was the only reason she could think of for Naruto's betrayal. "No," Naruto denied immediately. "How could it be for such a childish reason? There are many things that can't be explained in a few words, Sakura. I hope you won't ask anymore. One day you'll understand. I don't want to wait for that day." Sakura cried, tears streaming down her face. "Then what if I told you that the promise doesn't count anymore? What if I begged you to come back to Konoha?" Naruto replied, "I refuse." Sakura's voice trembled. "Then what if I said, the one I love isn't Sasuke, but you?" Naruto remained silent. Sakura had said the same thing years ago. Back then, even though he knew she was lying, it had still shaken him. But now he was no longer the same boy. Her words stirred no emotions in him. Yet he knew Sakura's heart was in the right place. She was desperate and out of options. "Enough, Sakura. Don't say such childish things. There are too many things in this world that neither you nor I can change. Don't forget, we are Shinobi, those who endure and move forward." Naruto's voice was low as he placed a hand on Sakura's shoulder and gently pushed her away. Sakura stood there in a daze. The sudden distance and unfamiliarity in Naruto's demeanor left her at a loss. But Naruto's words, though directed at Sakura, carried a deeper meaning. If Hinata were to beg him like this, Naruto feared he might lose his resolve. "Ha!" Naruto exhaled deeply as he stood up, brushing the snow off his clothes. Then, he began walking toward Hinata. "I'm sorry, Hinata." Naruto walked up to Hinata, trying to mask his emotions with indifference. But in the end, his words were filled with tenderness and guilt. Everyone assumed Naruto was apologizing to Hinata for the battle against pain, where she had risked her life to protect him. Even Hinata herself thought so. After all, perspectives differ. Naruto, having lived through an entire cycle of reincarnation, saw Hinata as his wife, the mother of their 2 children. This apology, this gaze, carried profound meaning. But from Hinata's perspective, she had merely mustered the courage to protect Naruto from pain and confess her feelings. Thus, she couldn't yet understand Naruto's feelings for her or the depth of his gaze at this moment. Even so, she could feel the deep helplessness emanating from him. Hinata raised her face, her voice as gentle as a spring breeze. "Why are you apologizing? Naruto-kun has always followed his ninja way. I'm sure you're doing the same now, keeping your word and moving forward bravely. That's the Naruto-kun I know. Then why, Hinata, are you crying?" Naruto's heart trembled as he clenched his fist tightly under his sleeve, resisting the urge to reach out and wipe away her tears. Yes, why indeed? When she first learned of Naruto's defection, the pain nearly drowned her. But the trust and attachment she had built since childhood made her believe that Naruto must have his reasons. She was desperate to find him and uncover the truth. Now that she had found him, Hinata began to understand. Naruto-kun is trying to avoid us. He's carrying something heavy all by himself, and that's why he's pushing us away. I can see it in his eyes, in his every movement. I'm sure of it. Naruto-kun, you must be in so much pain, aren't you? No, Hinata wasn't crying out of her own sadness. She was crying for Naruto's sorrow. Ha, ha, ha. Suddenly, a lack of oxygen caused intense dizziness, and Hinata stumbled. Hinata! The anxious cries of those around her rang out, but Naruto's strong hand was already supporting her shoulders. Don't panic. Breathe slowly. Through her blurred vision, Hinata saw Naruto's face so familiar, yet now carrying a weathered, aged sorrow despite his youth. She raised her hand, gently touching his face, her eyes shimmering with tears, full of tenderness. Naruto-kun, I trust you. I know you must have your reasons. You don't have to tell us now. Just, I have one request. Can I stay by your side? What? Kiba's face immediately changed, but Shikamaru stopped him with a glance. Naruto quietly listened to Hinata's plea. Naruto-kun, I know I'm not strong enough, but I promise I'll be good. I won't cause you any trouble. So, please, don't bear all of this alone, okay? She didn't know what Naruto was going through, yet she still put herself in his shoes, thinking only of him. Naruto replied with a heavy heart. That would be too dangerous. Hinata's eyes were resolute. I'm not afraid. I understand your feelings. Truly, I do. And it's precisely because of that I can't let you stay by my side. Stay in Konoha and wait for me to come home. These words were Naruto's heartfelt whisper to himself. Hinata's almost pleading gaze lingered before him. Naruto feared that if he looked at her any longer, his resolve would waver. He placed his left hand on the back of Hinata's neck and waved his right hand gently in front of her face. It was a technique that induced sleep, a jutsu he had often used to lull his daughter, Himawari, to sleep. It was a jutsu filled with love and connection. Naruto-kun, Hinata's eyes grew heavy as she called out to him, unwillingly drifting into slumber. Ha! This was the most emotionally turbulent moment for Naruto since his return. He closed his eyes tightly, trying to calm his heart. When he opened them again, his gaze fell on Neji. To Naruto, Neji was also a deeply important figure. He was a genius who had tragically died young, never breaking free from the curse of the caged bird. He had played a pivotal role in Naruto's growth. Neji, I won't let the same tragedy happen again. I swear. Naruto made this vow silently. He spoke solemnly. Neji, please take care of Hinata. Don't let her leave the village recklessly. It's too dangerous. I will. Neji supported Hinata on his shoulder. The answer he sought had already been confirmed. Shinobi asked, Naruto, I only have one question. Did you kill Muto? Muto Aburame and Takuma Hyuga, both members of Anko's team, had died in the forest. Their bodies had been returned by root operatives, who framed Naruto for their deaths. Naruto was shocked. They're dead. Shino, his black sunglasses hiding his emotions, replied, Yes, they're dead. Anko left behind an intelligence scroll. It mentioned that you fought their team in the forest outside Konoha, making you the prime suspect. Naruto said, I did fight them, but I didn't kill them. Shino paused before saying, Such words are hardly convincing. Even if we believe you, the people in the village won't. Naruto's mind was clear. It seems Root got there first after we left. Shikamaru asked, What about Anko? Is she still alive? Naruto glanced at Sai. In the past, Sai had only officially left Root after Danzo's death. But now he was still a member. Naruto chose his words carefully. Who knows? Shikamaru, deep in thought, took out a pre-prepared scroll and handed it to Naruto. The scroll read, Danzo has already smeared your name. The current atmosphere in the village is extremely hostile toward you. Anko is the only one who knows what happened in that battle and the only one who can prove your innocence. If she's in your hands, don't let her go. Danzo will certainly silence her. Similarly, if you ever plan to return to Konoha, you must protect Anko. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he wrote on the scroll. As long as Danzo remains in power, Konoha will inevitably face a period of darkness. You and your father must tread carefully. As I suspect, Sasuke will seek even greater power, determined to kill Danzo without my help. His hatred needs an outlet, so this time I won't interfere. If, after killing Danzo, Sasuke still aims to destroy Konoha, then I will step in to stop him. Snap! Shikamaru retrieved the scroll, read it, and looked deeply at Naruto. So, are you now our ally? Or our enemy? Naruto adjusted his rogue ninja headband and swished his cloak. If we meet on the battlefield in the future, you need not hold back. Whoosh! Using the asterisk flying Raijin Jutsu, Naruto disappeared. Shikamaru let out a helpless chuckle. Huh? This is turning into such a mess. Whoosh! At a mountain stream outside the Land of Iron, Naruto appeared before Konan and Orochimaru. You took your time. Ah! I had a long overdue chat with some old friends. Konan asked, are we heading back to Amigakure? Naruto surveyed the barren wasteland around them. I don't have a flying Raijin mark in Amigakure yet. If we go on foot, it'll take some time. Naruto reached into his pocket and took out a vial containing Shirsue's right eye. He held it carefully. To be safe, let's find a place to implant this eye first. Kanahagakure, temporary Hokage tent. Danzo Shimura, who had narrowly escaped death in the Land of Iron, now leaned on a cane with his left hand. His right eye and arm had been replaced with a prosthetic eye and arm, both tightly wrapped in bandages to avoid drawing attention. A letter from the daimyo had just arrived, and its contents were far from favorable. It read, Danzo, your performance at the 5 Kage Summit was, to be frank, utterly disappointing. However, since I personally appointed you as Hokage, dismissing you immediately would only reflect poorly on my judgment. I am giving you 100 days to rectify the situation and steer Kanahagakure back on track. Failing that, I will select a new Hokage. After reading the letter, Danzo burned it with a candle, his gaze dark and brooding. If only I still had Koto Amatsukami in my right eye, I could have easily resolved this with the daimyo. Once the letter was reduced to ashes, Danzo sat in deep thought for a long time. He summoned the overseer of Kanahagakure's reconstruction to inquire about the village's rebuilding progress and added a new directive, the construction of the 6th Hokage's face on the Hokage Rock. The overseer hesitated, clearly concerned. Although the village has received reconstruction funds from the Land of Fire, the workload is immense, and public morale is unstable. Wouldn't focusing on the Hokage Rock at this time be inappropriate? He carefully observed Danzo's expression, speaking with caution. But Danzo, who had managed to seize the position of Hokage through cunning and patience, was not one to lose his composure so easily. The inauguration of every Hokage is marked by the addition of their likeness to the Hokage Rock, Danzo said with feigned earnestness. It symbolizes renewal. Now, more than ever, the village needs a new Hokage Rock to serve as a spiritual pillar for the people. The overseer wanted to object further, but the cold, piercing gazes of the root members flanking him silenced his protests. That does make sense, he finally conceded. Then begin immediately, Danzo commanded. The Hokage Rock must be tailored to reflect my stature. From materials to craftsmanship to manpower, everything must be approved by me. Understood, Lord Hokage. After the overseer left, Danzo stepped out of the tent, his single visible eye fixed on the distant ruins and the cliff where the Hokage Rock stood. My visage as Hokage will finally be etched into history. The experience in the Land of Iron, where he had narrowly escaped death, still left him shaken. Even now, he often found himself sleepless and restless, haunted by the memory. Back in his seat, he gripped his cane tightly. I was so close. Just as I seized the position of Hokage, it nearly slipped away. I never imagined Uzumaki Naruto's strength would reach such heights. The power of the Rinnegan is unparalleled. If only I had foreseen this, I would have done whatever it took to obtain Nagato's eyes back in Amigakure. The loss of his right eye and arm had stripped him of his most crucial survival tools. Now, wherever he went, elite root members guarded him within 100 paces. Even the village's ANBU security had been replaced by root operatives. That evening, Terai, whom Danzo had sent to hunt down Kabuto Yakushi before the 5 Kage Summit, returned, battered and bruised. Lord Danzo, Terai reported. I found his whereabouts, but his strength far exceeded our intelligence. Danzo frowned. Far exceeded? Then how did you survive? To be honest, it seemed he deliberately let me live. A serpent's slit pupil flickered in Terai's eyes for a brief moment. Snap! Danzo's gaze sharpened. He suddenly dropped his cane, leapt from his seat, and seized Terai by the throat. Erg dash! A white snake emerged from Terai's mouth, clutching a scroll in its jaws. Terai collapsed, lifeless. Danzo bent down, picked up the scroll, and unrolled it. His eyes flashed with intensity as he read its contents. Lord Danzo, dispose of Terai's body. Yes, sir. Also, I must leave the village for a time. This is an absolute secret. No one must know. But, Lord Hokage, what about the village? My double will handle things in my absence. As a seasoned schemer, Danzo had long prepared a body double. From appearance to mannerisms, the double was indistinguishable, even to most Jonin-level shinobi. Even though it's a double, Danzo added, the Hokage's presence must remain impeccable. Anything less will arouse suspicion. The daimyo is already pressuring me. I cannot afford any mistakes now. And your personal guards? Danzo's former guards, Fu and Toryun, had both fallen to Naruto. After a moment of contemplation, he said, recall Ryoma. Aburame Ryoma? The root operative in white showed a hint of reverence. Aburame Ryoma, one of the most formidable members of the Aburame clan, had once partnered with Orochimaru during his time in Root. Refer to the orphanage arc, where Ryoma stood alongside Orochimaru behind Danzo. That night, after making all necessary arrangements, Danzo donned a black cloak to conceal his identity and quietly left the village. Before departing, he glanced back at the Hokage rock and murmured, by the time I return, my likeness will surely be complete. The era of Danzo Shimura is finally dawning. He turned and vanished into the night. The long night stretched on, shrouded in darkness. In the southern region of the Land of Fire, within the Akatsuki's hideout. Ugh! Sasuke Uchiha stirred awake. Sasuke! Karen greeted him with a radiant smile. You're awake. Tobi, seated on a high ledge, rested his chin on one hand. As Sasuke's muddled consciousness cleared, he asked, where's Naruto? Tobi replied. After clashing with the Raikage, he safely left the Land of Iron. Bang! Sasuke's fist slammed into the stone platform. Damn it! Naruto's power. It's already reached such heights. Tobi said, there's no need to be disheartened, Sasuke. During your battle, your own power awakened significantly. If Naruto hadn't obtained Nagato's eyes, he wouldn't have defeated you so easily. Don't insult me with such childish excuses, Sasuke snapped coldly. Tobi probed, then, what do you plan to do? If you go to Konohagakure seeking revenge now, the outcome won't change. Sasuke's eyes burned with the desire for strength. I will transplant Itachi's eyes. Oh! Tobi's gaze shifted slightly as he descended from his perch. So, you finally decided? I need power strong enough to crush Naruto and destroy Konohagakure. Nothing else matters. Tobi looked at Sasuke intently. Come with me, then, outside the Land of Iron, in a cave hidden among the mountains. ZZZ. Naruto's right eye slowly opened, revealing the sharp, angular pattern of 4 Mangekyo Sharingan Tomo, the eye that once belonged to Shisui Uchiha. Naruto-kun, how do you feel? Orochimaru asked with a sly smile, having personally performed the transplant. Naruto replied, the darkness is even clearer to me now. Orochimaru explained, Kodo Amitsukami is an extraordinarily unique dojutsu. Without Hashirama's cells, it can only be used once every decade. But as a member of the Uzumaki clan, distant relatives of the Senju, your waiting period will be much shorter, approximately half a month. However, the risk of blindness remains. Naruto asked meaningfully, Orochimaru, aren't you afraid I might use this dojutsu on you? Orochimaru chuckled knowingly. Hehe, if you truly intended to use it on me, you wouldn't bother warning me first. Besides, even if you did, I wouldn't realize it until it was too late, would I? Naruto withdrew his gaze. Konan stepped forward. Now that your goal has been achieved, shall we return to Amigakure? Naruto's eyes deepened with thought. The Akatsuki was now targeting the Eight Tails. The Raikage was already rushing to rescue it. That man was likely doomed. Naruto could never forget the sight of that man, defending his comrades to the very end. To facilitate our next move, we should increase our manpower wherever possible. Konan asked, do you plan to recruit more once we return to Amigakure? Naruto half-closed his right eye. There's one man I want to save and bring to our side. Who is it? Konan inquired. Naruto's gaze burned with intensity. One of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, wielder of Samahata the Sharkskin Blade Kisame Hashigaki. Hashigaki Kisame's fate seemed sealed. At least that was what Naruto had mistakenly predicted. Due to Naruto's unexpected actions, Obito had not declared war during the 5 Kage summit as originally planned, leading to a cascade of unforeseen consequences. In the original timeline, after the 5 Kage summit, the Raikage quickly located Killer Bee. This was a result of all the major shinobi villages uniting against a common enemy and forming joint search teams. But this time, the situation was different. Only Kumogakure had formed a search team, which significantly slowed down their progress. And then, there was Kisame's mission. Obito, a man of meticulous foresight, had previously anticipated that declaring war would compel the 5 great shinobi nations to unite and protect the 8 Tails and 9 Tails for their collective wartime interests. In such a scenario, it would have been more strategic for Kisame to fake his death and infiltrate, uncovering their protective stronghold and capturing both Jinchuriki in one fell swoop. But this time, with Naruto defecting from Konohagakure, even if war broke out, he would not be shielded by the 5 great nations. Different circumstances called for different strategies. If capturing both Jinchuriki at once was no longer feasible, then the approach would be divide and conquer. Thus, there was no need for subterfuge. Kisame's mission this time was straightforward: defeat Killer Bee and bring him back to Akatsuki's base, securing the 8 tails firmly in their grasp. Splash dash! Amidst a forest nearly razed to the ground, water splashed violently as Killer Bee, his chakra completely drained, collapsed to the ground, powerless. It should be noted that Samahada's supposed betrayal in the past had merely been a prearranged ruse. In this altered chain of events, there was no longer any need for Kisame to stage a betrayal, and certainly no need for White Zetsu to sacrifice himself as a decoy. Huff, huff, huff. Kisame panted heavily. What a stubborn octopus bastard. But now you should behave yourself. Indeed, the 8 tails had been utterly defeated by the man known as the tailless-tailed beast. Rustle, rustle, rustle. White Zetsu emerged from the ground nearby. As expected of you, Kisame, reliable as always. Kisame, bare-chested, asked, "Where's the leader?" White Zetsu replied, "Tobi is preoccupied at the moment and can't come." After all, Sasuke had decided to transplant Itachi's eyes, and Obito needed to prioritize that task. White Zetsu thought to himself, besides, this remote wilderness isn't marked by his Kamui's spatial coordinates, so he can't teleport here. He said aloud, "Head east for 100 kilometers. There's a village that used to serve as one of our safe houses. Bring the Jinchuriki there, and Tobi should arrive by the time you get there." Swish! Kisame hefted his massive blade, Samahada, and slung the barely conscious Killer Bee over it. "Then what are we waiting for? Let's move." White Zetsu cautioned, "Be careful. I've received intelligence that Kumogakure's forces are already searching for the 8 tails. It's possible you'll encounter them." The Raikage is furious that his brother has fallen into our hands again. Kisame smirked. The Raikage, huh? With taijutsu even more formidable than that beast from Konohagakure, he's a tough opponent. If Itachi were still alive, dealing with him would have been much easier. White Zetsu remarked, "Akatsuki is indeed facing a manpower shortage right now. Once the 8 tails is securely ours, we can focus all our remaining strength on capturing the 9 tails. Fortunately, Sasuke is still on our side. By choosing to transplant Itachi's eyes, he's about to gain a whole new level of power." Kisame mused. Itachi's little brother, huh? Even with Itachi's eyes, what he sees may not be the same as what Itachi saw. The future of Akatsuki. It's truly something to anticipate. Then we'll await your good news, Kisame. With that, White Zetsu sank back into the ground. Under the cover of night, Kisame, with his blade and the 8 tails Jinchuriki Killer Bee, began his journey to the designated village. It was this 100-kilometer stretch of road that would rewrite the course of his life. At dawn the next morning, Kumogakure's search team finally arrived at the site where Killer Bee and Kisame had fought. Kumogakure ANBU. There are numerous traces left by swords here. It's definitely Bisama, and there's another blade judging by the cuts. It's the Mist Village's great sword, Samahada, Raikage. Humph. Hashigaki Kisame, it's Akatsuki. No doubt. ANBU. The battle marks are fresh. The fight likely occurred last night. Bisama didn't use a tailed beast bomb. Otherwise, this entire area would have been leveled. Indeed, before encountering Kisame, Killer Bee had been training in Enka with his mentor, Sabu. Using a tailed beast bomb would have risked harming his teacher, so Killer Bee hadn't gone all out. Raikage. What about Bee? Can you find him? ANBU. The ground here is damp with significant water residue. Judging by the chakra traces, this was caused by a large-scale water release jutsu. If the caster had been defeated, the water would have dissipated quickly. Since it's still here, it suggests the caster is alive. Bisama isn't skilled in such large-scale water release techniques. Therefore, we deduce that this is the enemy's doing, which means Bisama has likely been defeated. Damned Akatsuki! In a fit of rage, the Raikage punched a massive tree, shattering it in one blow. The fight happened last night. He can't have gotten far with Bee in tow. Search every inch of this area. There's no way he escaped unscathed after fighting Bee. He must have left some trace. Track down that Akatsuki scum, I'll rip his head off myself. With that, Kumogakure launched a full-scale pursuit of Kisame. By noon, Kisame was only 10 kilometers away from the designated village. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions echoed from the forest behind him. Kisame stopped and turned to look back. The traps I set are being triggered one after another. Clearly, the pursuers know the traps are there and are charging through them anyway. This kind of reckless behavior. He glanced at the still unconscious Killer Bee. Must be your big brother, coming to save you. Knowing that a fierce battle was inevitable, Kisame took out an iron chain and securely bound Killer Bee to his back. Gripping Samahata tightly, he faced the forest behind him. From the distance, lightning crackled as the Raikage led the charge, followed by Darui, C, and a squad of Kumogakure ANBU. Unfazed, Kisame declared, "Raikage, your brother is right here on my back. If you want to save him, you'll have to turn me into a corpse first." The Raikage roared, "As you wish, Darui. The rest of you stay out of this. I'll deal with this Akatsuki scum myself." Crackle, crackle. Encased in his lightning release chakra mode, the Raikage crouched after landing, then launched himself forward with explosive speed. The 100-meter distance was covered in an instant as he drove his lightning-charged elbow straight toward Kisame. Liger bomb. This was the same technique that had once reverted Yugo from his Cursed Seal level 3 state back to normal. Kisame raised Samahata to block in front of him. With a heavy thud, the Raikage's elbow struck the blade head-on. Exclamation point. Kisame gritted his teeth, struggling to hold his ground as he was forced to retreat. He quickly braced the back of the blade with his free hand, channeling his monstrous strength to resist. Even so, he was pushed back repeatedly. Boom! With a second surge of force from the Raikage's elbow, Kisame was sent flying backward. As he soared through the air, he drove Samahata into the ground, skidding dozens of meters before coming to a stop. The trees on either side of his path had been shattered in the process. Feeling the numbness in his arms, Kisame muttered with genuine admiration, "What a terrifying monster. Your strength surpasses even your brother's pseudo-tailed beast transformation." Humph! The Raikage snorted, cracking his thick neck with an audible pop. "Now that you understand fear, it's already too late." He launched another assault. Kisame didn't dare underestimate him. Samahata. Flying chain slash. The hilt of Samahata extended over 10 meters, twisting like a chain as the blade slashed toward the Raikage. Crackle, crackle. The Raikage shifted his position mid-charge, dodging the attack. Kisame frowned. "Even more troublesome than your strength is your speed." He let go of Samahata and rapidly formed hand seals. Water release, water shark bullet technique. Whoosh! A massive amount of chakra condensed into a shark-shaped water projectile, hurtling forward at incredible speed. Humph! A mere trick, the Raikage scoffed, charging straight through the water shark bullet with his body. However, the water's resistance slowed him down slightly. Kisame seized the moment to retrieve Samahata and reposition himself. Ordinary water release techniques are meaningless against a body like his. "I'll have to use that move." He rapidly formed more hand seals, his chest swelling as he inhaled deeply. Water release. Great exploding water colliding wave. Whoosh! A massive wave erupted from Kisame's mouth, forming a colossal, ellipsoid water prison. From above, the surrounding forest could be seen submerged under the vast sphere of water. Darui and the others, who were observing from a distance, quickly retreated further back, marveling at the sheer scale of the technique. What a monstrous jutsu! The water left behind at the previous battlefield must have been from this technique, right? Fighting in the enemy's domain puts the boss at a disadvantage. Shing! Darui unsheathed his blade. Prepare to assist the boss if needed. Inside the water prison, the Raikage, now fully submerged, struggled against the overwhelming pressure. His vision was obscured, his movements hindered by the water's tension, and most critically, he couldn't breathe. You might wonder why lightning doesn't conduct through water here. That's because the lightning release chakra would be absorbed by the water. Rustle, rustle, rustle. On the other side of the water prison, Kisame had fused with Samahata, transforming into a half-man, half-shark form. In this state, Kisame could breathe and move freely underwater, while also gaining the abilities to absorb chakra and sense chakra signatures. Your greatest advantage, your speed, is now nullified. That layer of lightning around your body is made of chakra, which means it's destined to be absorbed. And I'll make sure to expedite that process. Whoosh, 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 boom, boom, boom. Kisame darted through the water at high speed, repeatedly slamming into the Raikage's body. Fused with Samahata, Kisame himself acted as the blade. Each collision drained a significant amount of the Raikage's chakra. The lightning armor surrounding the Raikage began to flicker and fade. He closed his eyes, burying his face deeper into his chest. Kisame taunted, losing chakra and unable to breathe, painful. Isn't it? Don't worry, your suffering will end soon. Outside, Darui anxiously asked, what's the situation? C activated his sensory abilities. The boss isn't moving right now. Damn it. Is it still not enough? Darui prepared to charge in. Wait. The boss's chakra, it's not decreasing. It's increasing. Darui stopped, sheathing his blade. Looks like the boss is about to use that. It's his way of saying he doesn't need our help. What a stubborn guy. He could have just let us gang up on the enemy. But no, he insists on a one-on-one fight. Crackle. Crackle. Inside the water prison, the Raikage's lightning surged even more violently. His hair stood on end, transforming into sharp, hardened spikes. * lightning release chakra mode. Full power. *. Swoosh. Kisame darted toward the Raikage again, only to find his target had vanished. What? He's resisting the water pressure and dodging my attacks? And his chakra suddenly surged to a level comparable to a tailed beast's. What's going on? Bubbles rose as the Raikage held his breath and charged forward. Realizing the danger, Kisame immediately switched tactics, retreating rapidly. The water prison moved with him, as it was centered around his body. By maintaining distance, he aimed to keep the Raikage trapped within the water prison's boundaries. With continuous chakra loss and suffocation, even the Raikage couldn't hold out for long. The Raikage, aware of Kisame's strategy, pushed himself even harder to close the gap. However, despite his speed, the water prison still restricted his movements. Moreover, this was Kisame's domain, and the Raikage couldn't sense his chakra. Gradually, the Raikage began to falter. Damn it! These Akatsuki bastards, every one of them has such disgusting abilities. Focusing all his senses on the Raikage, Kisame thought with relief. Now, it's just a matter of time, the 8th blade. But at that moment, a low murmur escaped from Killer Bee, who was still bound tightly behind Kisame. Gurgle, gurgle. Blood-red chakra bubbles began to emerge from Killer Bee's dark skin, transforming into the transparent form of a tailed beast cloak. Kisame immediately sensed something was wrong. Even fused with Samahata, just by touching him, I should be continuously absorbing his chakra. So how is he producing this much chakra? Crack, crack, way dash. Killer Bee flexed his arms, his muscles swelling as the chains binding him snapped one by one. Kisame's expression turned grim. Could it be? Samahata is willingly giving him chakra? Rustle, rustle, rustle. As if fate were piling on, Kisame's body was suddenly rejected by Samahata. He was flung backward as the sword forcefully separated from him, breaking their fusion. Kisame gritted his teeth. Damn it! That traitorous sword even took my chakra with it as it left. Whoosh! Without chakra to sustain it, the great exploding water colliding wave began to rapidly collapse. Raikage and Killer Bee were freed from their watery prison. Huff, huff. Raikage greedily inhaled the fresh air. Samahata happily scurried over to Killer Bee, transferring the chakra it had absorbed from Kisame into him. Killer Bee stroked the sword, which was now nuzzling against him like a pet, and hummed a tune. Yo-yo, life's a stroke of luck dash. From now on, you're my god kid dash. Kisame was filled with a mix of emotions. Samahata, you really like his chakra that much? Huh? Killer Bee slung Samahata onto his back, breaking into a dance as he rapped. Betrayal in the Afternoon Shark's lonely tune, Sashimi's fresh blood twilight's melancholy gloom. Owayo. I've still got the moves. My charm shines through dash. Eight Tails Killer Bee. That's who. Yeah. The battle's just begun, but it's almost done dash. Seeing his lively younger brother, Raikage smirked. Humph. You're as restless as ever. B. Use that move. It's time to end this. Okay dash. Brother dash. Boom. The tailed beast chakra around Killer Bee instantly condensed, forming a dense crimson cloak on his body. From his back, massive skeletal structures began to emerge. Crackle. On the other side, Raikage's lightning armor reignited, surging with terrifying energy that made the air itself tremble. Darui observed the scene and remarked, without his life-saving sword, facing the strongest combo attack of the Cloud's AB brothers, Hashigaki Kisame, this is the end for you. Way dash. Ha! Raikage and Killer Bee adjusted their positions, then charged at Kisame from opposite directions, launching a devastating pincer attack. Double lariat. Kisame, knowing his fate was sealed, closed his eyes and sighed. A traitor will always be betrayed in the end. I guess I can't escape that fate either. Itachi-san, did you feel the same before your death? But just at that critical moment, a hand suddenly shot out from the ground, grabbing Kisame's ankle and yanking him downward. Earth release. Hiding like a mole technique. From the perspective of the charging Raikage and Killer Bee, their target suddenly vanished. However, it was too late to stop their momentum. Boom! Boom! The two brothers, in their respective powerful modes, ended up locking arms around each other's necks with full force. Ugh! A woo! The scene that unfolded defied description. Too massive. Muscular men frozen in a comical embrace before flipping over and crashing to the ground, sliding and twitching in a heap. Darui instinctively clutched his throat. Man, this isn't something to joke about. Meanwhile, Kisame, who had narrowly escaped death, was now buried up to his neck in the ground. He chuckled. I see. This technique really does make it look like I've been decapitated. Well then, whoever you are hiding underground, it's about time you showed yourself, don't you think? Rustle, rustle, rustle. The earth parted, and a blonde, cloaked young man rose from the dirt, standing tall amidst the earthy scent. He smiled. Although this isn't my usual style of entrance, caution is necessary when dealing with the Cloud's AB brothers. The sight of the newcomer left Kisame stunned. It's you. Naruto Uzumaki turned to face him with a grin. Kisame-san, long time no see. I assume I don't need to introduce myself, do I? Back in the day, when Kisame infiltrated Konoha alongside Itachi, Naruto was just a child. Apart from his status as the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, Kisame hadn't paid him any mind. In just a few short years, however, Naruto's growth had been nothing short of astonishing. First, he took down 2 of Kakuzu's hearts in a single strike. Then, not long ago, he defeated Akatsuki's frontman, Pain. Now, even Obito had begun to perceive him as a threat, forced to make a series of countermeasures. Kisame spoke in a deep voice. You're someone Akatsuki will take sooner or later. You've even taken the eyes he wanted. Our positions are irreconcilable. I can't think of a single reason why you'd save me, Naruto replied. Things always happen suddenly. Reasons are something we search for afterward. Kisame frowned. Even so, whatever your motives may be, I won't act according to your wishes. Beneath his mask, Naruto smiled faintly. I understand. That's precisely why I admire you. Ugh. Ah. Both the Raikage and Killer Bee lay on the ground, still recovering. The sheer force of their high-speed collision was enough to prove their resilience, even though they hadn't succumbed to death. Darui, leading the Kumogakure Shinobi, quickly stepped forward to assist them. Darui said, Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, it's you again. Causing a scene at the 5 Kage summit wasn't enough? The intel you provided barely convinced the boss to let you off the hook, and yet you're still not giving up. Why have you come here? Naruto glanced at Killer Bee, pushing aside memories of the past. With neither arrogance nor humility, he replied. He's already fulfilled his wish of saving his brother. Now, I'm here to save someone I want to save. Isn't that fair? Darui narrowed his eyes. Someone you want to save? You mean that Akatsuki shark? But he doesn't seem to appreciate your kindness. What's your real goal? Naruto shrugged. I'm under no obligation to tell you more. Darui raised his voice. Then let's settle this with ninjutsu. Storm release. Laser circus. Storm release, a combination of water and lightning, possessed both the destructive power of lightning and the control of water. From Darui's hands, multiple powerful laser beams shot toward Naruto. Naruto simply raised his palm. A translucent ceiling barrier unfolded before him, his left eye glowing faintly with its unique power. Pretapath. Whoosh! The lasers from Storm Release instantly dimmed, completely absorbed by the Pretapath. Lowering his hand, Naruto said indifferently, Stop. I have no intention of fighting you right now. Darui gritted his teeth. Tisich, what a boring eye. Naruto raised his hand to the mask on his face. The mask had a single eye hole, exposing only his left eye. Kisame-san, I know full well that you won't abandon your position no matter what. So, forgive me for being presumptuous. As he removed the mask, Naruto turned to face Kisame. His right eye, previously hidden, revealed a Mangekyo Sharingan, its 3 tomo spinning and transforming into a 4-pronged pinwheel. A dark red glow emanated from his eye. Kotoame Tsukimi. Buzz. The effect of this technique was subtle and imperceptible. The target wouldn't even realize they had been influenced, naturally aligning their actions with the caster's will. Without any resistance, everything fell into place. The earth broke open as Kisame's arm extended out. Naruto reached out and pulled Kisame to his feet, smiling. Kisame, I look forward to working with you. Dusting off the dirt from his clothes, Kisame replied politely, The pleasure is mine. What? Darui couldn't believe his eyes. How is this possible? Kisame's attitude earlier clearly showed he didn't care for Naruto's help. A man who faced death without fear, how could he betray his position over a simple life-saving favor? The glow in Naruto's right eye faded as it reverted to its three-tomo state. He replaced the mask on his face, concealing the Sharingan once more. He extended his left hand toward Darui from a distance. Bansho Tenin. Whoosh! A powerful gravitational force pulled Samahata from Killer Bee's back, sending it flying into Naruto's grasp. Slash! Samahata resisted, sprouting barbs from its hilt that pierced Naruto's hand, causing blood to flow freely. Yet Naruto's expression remained unchanged as he gripped the sword tightly. Rustle! Samahata flailed wildly, trying to escape. When that failed, it began absorbing Naruto's chakra, causing its blade to swell. Naruto smirked and activated the Pretapath's ability, reversing the flow and absorbing Samahata's chakra instead. When it came to absorption, the Pretapath was unmatched. Defeated, Samahata's massive blade rapidly shrank, drooping powerlessly. Chirp! Samahata let out pitiful whimpers, completely subdued. Clang! Naruto tossed Samahata at Kisame's feet. Here, it's yours. Kisame picked up Samahata, brushing off the dirt. A fellow traitor, huh? Looks like we'll be sticking together from now on. Samahata? With Samahata returned to its rightful owner, Hoshigaki Kisame had now pledged allegiance to Naruto. Such was the power of Kotoame Tsukimi. Naruto wrapped his bloodied left hand in a bandage, his gaze falling on the blood-stained ground beneath him. He placed a kunai, marked with an explosive tag, into the soil. Raising his left hand, he rested it on Kisame's shoulder and said to the stunned Darui, Well then, I'll be taking my leave. Whoosh! Flying Raijin Jutsu. Naruto and Kisame vanished in an instant. Boom! The explosive tag detonated, obliterating the blood-stained ground entirely. Rustle. In the grass nearby, a small snake flicked its tongue, its vertical pupils glinting with frustration. Not even a drop of blood left behind. Naruto's no longer the reckless brat he used to be. Every move reeks of the caution of an old fox. No wonder even Orochimaru-sama was. Ugh! No sooner had Naruto left than Raikage and Killer Bee regained consciousness. Raikage growled, Where's that Akatsuki shark bastard? Killer Bee exclaimed, Where's my good kid? Darui replied, They've been taken. Raikage's temper flared. What did you say? Uzumaki Naruto again. If I get my hands on him, I'll take his head myself. Though disappointed at losing Samahata so soon after acquiring it, Killer Bee still broke into an impromptu song. Raikage glared. Killer Bee looked back. Big bro, snap, running around everywhere, causing me nothing but trouble. Raikage's iron grip clamped down on Killer Bee's head. Awoo! Big bro's scolding, as fierce as ever. Killer Bee's cries of pain echoed far and wide. Darui and the other Kumogakure Shinobi exchanged helpless smiles. Naruto and Kisame returned to the rendezvous point where Konan and Orochimaru were waiting. They were all familiar faces. Kisame chuckled. Konan, Orochimaru. Who would have thought we'd be working together again? Orochimaru smirked. Even more surprising, can I have a closer look at your Samahata for research this time? Konan asked. Now that the objective is complete, shall we return to Amigakure? In the twilight, amidst the chirping of orioles and the lush greenery, Naruto couldn't help but recall the days of his training. Back then, after every training session, there was always one place he would go, but now perhaps he'd never set foot there again. Before that, there's one more place I need to visit. Konohagakure had been under reconstruction for some time. The desolation from before was gradually fading, and scattered wooden frames of houses were beginning to form the outline of a village. Even Ichiraku Ramen Temporary had reopened, bustling with a steady stream of customers. In an inconspicuous corner, an inconspicuous young man sat staring at a large bowl of tonkatsu ramen before him, drooling uncontrollably. His left hand was wrapped in bandages as he clasped his chopsticks between his palms in a ceremonial gesture and declared, asterisk, Itida Kamasu, asterisk, asterisk let's eat, asterisk, slurp, slurp, asterisk, breaking apart the chopsticks. He began devouring the ramen voraciously. Yes, this seemingly unremarkable young man was none other than Naruto. Back in the day, after completing his daily training, he would always reward himself with a bowl of Ichiraku ramen. Even after becoming Hokage, this habit persisted. The taste was etched into his soul, becoming an inseparable part of his life. No ramen, no Naruto. So, even now, as a rogue ninja of the village, he couldn't resist the temptation of that flavor. He had gone so far as to use the transformation jutsu to sneak back into the village, just to savor that familiar delicacy once more. Slurp dash, slurp dash. Asterisk. At this moment, Naruto had forgotten all about the enmities of nations and the hardships ahead. He had returned to his roots, becoming nothing more than a diner reveling in the joy of good food. In just 3 minutes, the bowl was empty down to the last drop of broth. Kata kata dash asterisk. Asterisk so full, so satisfied dash asterisk. Leaning back in his chair, he rubbed his stomach contentedly. But when he turned his head casually, he was startled to see a familiar figure at the neighboring table. It was Iruka-sensei. Naruto almost called out to him instinctively. For some reason, Iruka's face was filled with worry. The steam from his bowl of ramen had already dissipated, yet he hadn't touched it. Naruto's gaze dimmed, and his outstretched hand slowly withdrew. The student Iruka had once placed so much hope in had now become a rogue ninja condemned by all. It must have been a heavy blow for Iruka. Naruto couldn't bear to see Iruka looking so dejected, so he chose to leave. At that moment, Tucci, the owner of Ichiraku Ramen, who was busy rolling dough, looked up to wipe the sweat from his brow. His gaze was drawn to the departing figure. "What's wrong, Dad?" asked Ayam, Tucci's daughter, noticing his reaction. "That back. It looked like Naruto. But that's impossible, right? It must have been my imagination," Tucci muttered, shaking his head as he returned to his work. Naruto walked along the streets of the village at dusk. The streets bustled with people, and many familiar faces passed by. But Naruto simply walked in silence, lost in his thoughts. Before he realized it, he had arrived at the place he knew best. When he saw the ruins before him, he snapped out of his reverie. "Of course, it's gone now," he murmured to himself. After the devastation caused by pain, Konoha had been destroyed. How could that place have survived? How foolish of me to think otherwise. Shaking his head in self-mockery, Naruto was about to turn and leave when he noticed something scrawled in blood-red letters among the rubble. "Demon Fox, traitor, beast, monster." The twisted characters were filled with malice and hatred. Naruto's expression remained blank. He had long since grown accustomed to the coldness of the world. At this point, such misunderstandings and hostility no longer fazed him in the slightest. He stepped onto the ruins to examine them. The writing was fresh, but there were also signs of previous attempts to erase similar markings. "What's going on here?" he wondered. As he pondered, a boy with a bandage on his face and a bucket of paint in hand approached, accompanied by Moegi and Udon. Konohamaru, noticing the fresh blood-red writing and the unfamiliar figure standing amidst the rubble, shouted angrily, "You're the one who wrote that, aren't you?" Before Naruto could respond, Konohamaru continued, "Listen up. Big brother Naruto isn't what you think he is. He's the strongest ninja, a man destined to become Hokage." Despite his young age, Konohamaru's eyes held a sharp determination. "Konohamaru, don't be rash," Moegi said, tugging nervously at his sleeve. "I know," Konohamaru replied. "As a ninja, I won't fight over something like this." Even as he spoke, the bandage on his face seemed to betray his words. Ignoring Naruto's presence, he poured paint over the hateful writing, erasing it. Naruto smiled faintly, leapt down from the ruins, and walked away with his hands in his pockets. His eyes glimmered with a profound light. "There's no need for that, Konohamaru. Those who've weathered the storms of life won't be blinded by mere grains of sand." He made his way to Konoha's cemetery, observing from a distance. In the glow of the setting sun, Kakashi stood before the memorial stone, as always, mourning Obito. However, his expression was tinged with more melancholy than usual. Yugao Yuzuki, having finished paying her respects to her late lover and sister, approached and greeted him. "Kakashi-senpai, are you confiding in Obito about Naruto?" Realizing he'd been seen through, Kakashi replied, "Yugao, You've caught me, Yugao said. What happened with Naruto is hard on everyone. Now that Danzo holds the position of Hokage, public opinion is even more against him. But I believe Lady Tsunade will turn things around once she wakes up. Kakashi sighed. Let's hope so. Standing too far away to hear their conversation, Naruto gazed at the memorial stone, his thoughts drifting to his mentor, Jiraiya. After his negotiation with Nagato, Naruto had erected a cenotaph for Jiraiya on his way back to the village. This time, however, he didn't. After all, in his future battles with the Kara organization, Naruto had encountered another version of Jiraiya, Kashin Koji, a clone created by Amato, Kara's chief scientist, using Jiraiya's cells. Naruto murmured, "If I could turn back time, this wouldn't be the ideal moment. A month earlier, and maybe Erosenin wouldn't have had to die, but now it no longer mattered. As long as he could find Jiraiya's body before Amato did, manipulating time had always been considered a forbidden act for ninja. I, Naruto Uzumaki, have already defied the flow of time. One more time won't make a difference." As night fell, Naruto glanced at the Hokage rock. Beside Tsunade's face, a new outline was being carved. He turned and walked deeper into the village. Ahead was the area where the Hokage conducted official duties. No unauthorized personnel allowed. 2 root members in white robes and animal masks blocked his path. Naruto's expression was unreadable. "Oh, the Hokage, Lord Danzo, the 6th Hokage," one of them barked. "I see. My apologies," Naruto said, turning to leave. In a deserted alley, he stopped. "So, Danzo's back in the village. The timing makes sense. But with such heavy security, does he really plan to stay here, waiting for Sasuke or me to come for him? Unlikely. Let's confirm. ZZZ. Asterisk. Naruto entered sage mode. His sensory perception extended into the Hokage's tent, and his expression shifted before a sly smile crept onto his face. "Heh, just as I thought." Placing his left hand on a nearby lamppost, he left a flying Raijin mark on it. Whoosh. Asterisk. He vanished without a trace. Moments later, Shikaku, Inoichi, and Choza, the older generation of the Ino Shikacho trio, walked by, supporting a drunken Choza between them. As they passed the lamppost, Shikaku suddenly stopped, staring at it. "What's wrong, Shikaku?" Inoichi asked. "That mark. Could it be?" "It's nothing," Shikaku replied, masking his thoughts as he moved on. In the forest outside Konoha, Konan, Orochimaru, and Kisame stood before a shallow pit. Whoosh. Asterisk. Naruto reappeared via flying Raijin, dispelling his transformation jutsu. With a sweep of his cloak, he approached them and asked, "How did it go?" Before infiltrating the village, he had assigned them another task. Kisame said, "My Samahata isn't exactly suited for digging. That guy was indeed here, but it seems he's already." Naruto stepped to the edge of the pit and looked down. At the bottom lay a dull, gray head with closed eyes and a lifeless demeanor. It was Haiden, Bansho Tenin. Asterisk. Whoosh. Asterisk. Using gravitational force, Naruto pulled Haiden's head from the pit and held it in his hand. Snap. Asterisk. Haiden's eyes suddenly opened, glaring fiercely at Naruto. But before he could say a word, Naruto shoved him into a box. Clang. Clang. Asterisk. The box shook violently, but Naruto paid it no mind. Orochimaru's lips curled into a curious smile as he watched the box. Konan stepped forward. "What's the next move?" Naruto replied, "Let's go. Back to Amigakure. The land of rain lies at the intersection of the territories of the land of earth, the land of fire, and the land of wind. Under the overcast sky, amidst the drifting rain, the village surrounded by lakes seemed abandoned by the world. The cold sculptures at the village entrance, drenched in rain, added an even more somber tone to the scene. Naruto couldn't help but feel a sense of guilt toward Amigakure. He had once promised Konan that, after becoming Hokage, he would bring peace to Amigakure. But in the future, Amigakure still fell into decline, corrupted by the Kara organization, and became a breeding ground for evil. Even after Kara, including Ishiki and Code, was completely eradicated, Amigakure never revived. It faded into the vast sea of shinobi history, with only the unending rain bearing witness. Now, this desolate village would become his haven, his base of operations. Naruto, of course, couldn't simply reap the benefits without contributing. He had resolved to weather the same storms and hardships alongside it. Standing on the lake amidst the pouring rain, he gazed at the village and silently vowed, "From today onward, Amigakure will be my second home. What I owe from my past life, I will repay in this one. Konan, Orochimaru, and Kisame, who accompanied him, were unaware of Naruto's thoughts, but they could sense a certain determination rising from his silhouette. Upon entering the village, there was no grand welcoming ceremony. However, both civilians and shinobi alike greeted Konan with reverence, their expressions filled with genuine piety. To them, Konan was the angel, the spokesperson of pain, their god. She held an irreplaceable position in Amigakure. This isolated village was unaware that their leader, Pain, was no longer among them. They observed the strangers accompanying the angel with curiosity and caution, especially the blonde man in the mask walking alongside her. Could he be Lord Pain? No, that couldn't be. Lord Pain was so mysterious and low-key, never appearing before others. His very existence was shrouded in mystery. Then he must be an outsider. Why would the angel bring outsiders into the village? Surely, if she did so, there must be a reason. Lord Pain would never harm us. Feeling the skeptical atmosphere around them, Naruto murmured, Pervy Sage must have faced a lot of challenges when he infiltrated this place for his investigation. Konan replied calmly, yes, this place is isolated from the world. After defeating Hanzo and uniting Amigakure, Pain became a god in the hearts of the people. Anyone who showed hostility toward him would become a target of collective scorn. She continued, before Pain's rule, there were actually two shinobi villages, Amigakure in the land of rain and Amigakure in the land of rivers. Pain unified the two, creating the Amigakure we know today. Turning to Naruto, Konan said, now that Nagato is gone, Naruto, I want to support you in becoming the new leader of Amigakure. Naruto pondered for a moment and replied, it's not the right time yet. I'm an outsider with no foundation here. Taking over as leader rashly would damage your reputation as well, Sister Konan. Konan's eyes flickered as she withdrew her gaze. That's what I thought too. No secret can remain hidden forever. The fact that Pain is no longer here will eventually come to light. Before that day arrives, you need to build your reputation. When the time comes, you can rightfully succeed him as leader. As they discussed, they left the civilian area and ventured deeper into Amigakure. The architecture here was primarily constructed of steel, with some stone elements. The style leaned toward cold tones, complemented by religiously themed reliefs, creating an overall oppressive yet solemn atmosphere. Numerous steel pipes of various sizes extended upward, forming a unique skyline. This was closely related to the village's heavy rainfall, necessitating such extensive piping and drainage systems. Perhaps due to his experiences in the future, Naruto felt an inexplicable resonance with this environment. Gazing at the tallest tower to the south, Naruto remarked, Amigakure is known for its towering structures. The tallest one there is said to be where Pain resided, right? Konan nodded. Yes, Pain liked to overlook the village in the rain from that tower. Akatsuki's highest-level meetings were also held there. That tower has even been marked by someone. Naruto glanced at her from the corner of his eye. You mean Obito? Konan's amber eyes darkened slightly. Yes, that man who claimed to be Madara. His Sharingan possesses a spacetime ninjutsu. After years of observation, I've roughly figured out its mechanics. She explained, he can mark spaces with his eye and freely travel between his personal dimension and the marked locations. That tower is one of his thousands of marked spots. Naruto contemplated this. So Kamui's spatial markings target locations rather than individuals. In this regard, my flying Raijin has an advantage. Konan looked northward. So, I plan to abandon that tower and activate the backup tower to the north. Follow me. The four of them arrived at an open space to the north. Konan formed hand seals and pressed her palm to the ground. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Amidst the rumbling sounds, a tall tower buried deep underground rose to the surface, along with numerous smaller auxiliary towers. When the process was complete, Konan stood up, rain soaking her figure, her gaze full of hope. This will be our new starting point. Naruto nodded in satisfaction. It suits me perfectly, Konan suggested. We've been traveling and braving the elements for so long. Let's rest well tonight and discuss future plans tomorrow. What do you think? Naruto turned to Orochimaru and Kisame. What about you two? No objections, they replied in unison. Then it's settled. With a flourish of his cloak, Naruto stepped into the tower. From the outside, the tower didn't look very large, but its interior was surprisingly spacious. It had 9 floors in total, with corridors and rooms on the first 7 levels. As they ascended the stairs, Konan said, Orochimaru, Kisame, you may choose any room on the first 6 floors to stay in. However, The 7th floor is off-limits without permission. Kisame stopped on the 2nd floor. Orochimaru chose the 4th floor. Konan, however, followed Naruto to the 7th floor. The 7th floor was unique, with only 3 rooms arranged side by side. Konan asked, "Naruto, which room would you like?" Naruto responded with a question. "Which one will you take, Sister Konan?" Konan replied, "I'm fine with any. You choose first. I'll take the one next to yours, so we can look out for each other." After thinking for a moment, Naruto said, "Then I'll take the middle one." Konan nodded. "All right, I'll take the innermost one. If you're not comfortable, dash." Naruto removed his mask, revealing a young yet weathered face. "Don't worry, I've grown used to living in caves over the years. Having a bed to sleep on is already a luxury." Konan smiled gently. "Those days are behind you now. Naruto, welcome officially to Amigakure." In the stillness of the night, Naruto lay on his bed, hands resting behind his head as he stared blankly at the ceiling. The journey from near death to his rebirth as a youth still felt surreal to him, even though it was undeniably real. Thus, he needed the quiet of the night to reflect and synchronize his mind and body with reality. The faint sound of running water came from the shower next door. Naruto's thoughts stirred as he withdrew his left hand from beneath the pillow, slowly lowering it to rest on his abdomen. Sizzle. Asterisk. The seal of the 8 trigram seal appeared. "Yo, Kurama," Naruto greeted. "You've finished going through the memories I brought back, haven't you?" Those memories spanned nearly a century, a colossal amount of information. It was no wonder the Nine Tails needed time to process it all. Kurama's haughty voice echoed in his mind. "Humph. So what?" Naruto remained calm. "Since you've seen it all, you should understand why I've done what I've done, right?" Kurama's tone was as cold as ever. "So what?" Naruto's voice stayed steady. "So, can we go back to being honest with each other, like before?" Kurama's voice deepened. "Honest with each other? Don't flatter yourself. I don't recall ever having that kind of relationship with you. And as for the one in your memories, he wasn't me." Naruto sat up abruptly. "Hey, that was clearly you." "Silence," Kurama roared. "I am the embodiment of malice. How could I ever bow to a brat like you, let alone spout such sentimental nonsense?" "That wasn't me." Naruto sighed helplessly. "Kurama, I know you like being contrary, but you're just deceiving yourself." "Shut up," Kurama barked, his voice rising. "Don't call me by my name as if we're close." Inside Naruto's spiritual realm, Kurama thrashed his tails angrily, his fury so intense that it seeped through the ceiling formula. Bang. Asterisk. Ow. Naruto yelped as the back of his head hit the wooden bed frame. "Even if that was me," Kurama snarled, "I don't like the current you. I dislike you. No, I loathe you. I despise you so much it makes me sick." "Kurama, Naruto began. But Kurama cut him off, his voice filled with venom. "No matter your reasons, you are not Uzumaki Naruto. Get out of this body. I will never acknowledge someone like you as Naruto, never. Not in this lifetime." Whoosh. Asterisk. The 8 trigram seal faded, and Kurama fell silent once more. He had severed the chakra connection. Naruto shook his head with a wry smile, understanding Kurama's current attitude. After all, tailed beasts were living beings with emotions. They needed experiences to grow. In his past life, Kurama had slowly opened his heart to Naruto, eventually even sacrificing himself willingly. But the Kurama of this timeline had yet to undergo that growth. Even after seeing Naruto's memories and feeling his pain, it was too much to expect a sudden change in perspective. Such a disparity in understanding couldn't be bridged overnight. Naruto murmured to himself, "But I believe the day we reconnect will come again." From the room next door, Konan's voice called out, "Naruto, is something wrong? Were you arguing with someone?" Naruto replied, "It's nothing, Sister Konan. I just ran into an old friend." "I see," Konan responded knowingly. Thinking back to Kurama's reaction, Naruto couldn't help but ask, "Sister Konan, are you helping me just because I showed you my memories?" There was a long silence before Konan replied, "We are both Jiraiya's disciples, but from beginning to end, you have been the one to carry on his will. Even in your final moments, I could still see glimpses of Yahiko in you." She paused before continuing. "Those memories played a big part. Yes, but they weren't everything." Naruto felt a sense of relief. "I understand now. That puts my mind at ease." Konan's voice softened. "Get some rest. The road ahead is long, and we must take it step by step." Naruto closed his eyes. "All right, good night, Sister Konan. The night passed without further incident. The next morning, Naruto woke refreshed. After breakfast, he and the others gathered on the 9th floor of the tower. This was where they would discuss their plans for the future. 3 chairs were arranged in the southeast, southwest, and northwest corners. Naruto sat in the southern chair, facing north. Before him was a round table with a wooden box placed on it. From this vantage point, he could see the gloomy sky and endless rain outside the tower. Konan stood behind Naruto. Orochimaru sat in the eastern chair, arms crossed, a knowing smile playing on his lips. Kisame occupied the western chair, sitting upright with Samahata propped beside him. Naruto leaned forward, hands clasped together, his chin resting on his knuckles, his gaze steady. Let's begin. Swish! Konan moved her hand, and a parchment map of the Shinobi world unfurled on the wall behind her. Boom! Lightning flashed, illuminating her cold expression. The piercing lip stud she wore only added to her mature aura. Naruto spoke methodically. Konoha, Suna, Kumo, Kiri, and Iwa. These 5 great hidden villages dominate the Shinobi world, supported by the economies of the 5 great nations and their inherited jutsu. Our first objective is to gather the secret techniques and Kekkai Genkai of these villages. Kekkai Genkai rely on bloodlines, so we'll start with secret techniques first. Kumo's lightning release chakra mode, Iwa's lightweight and heavyweight rock techniques, Kiri's assassination techniques, Suna's puppet techniques, and Konoha's Ino Shikicho techniques. These are the powers I aim to acquire. In his past life, the 5 great villages had cooperated in harmony. As the linchpin of the 5 Kage, Naruto could have easily obtained these techniques, but he hadn't cared for them at the time. He had believed the jutsu he already knew were sufficient. It wasn't until he faced overwhelming enemies that he realized the value of versatility. Unique techniques often held the key to turning the tide. This time, Naruto intended to claim those techniques for himself. Orochimaru ran a hand through his hair, resting his chin on his palm as he studied the map. His deep, raspy voice broke the silence. Amigakure borders Suna, Iwa, and Konoha. We should prioritize these 3 villages. If we narrow it down further, Konoha with its flying Raijin markers and the weaker Suna should be our first targets. Naruto shook his head. I want to leave Konoha for last. As for Suna, the sandstorms make it difficult to traverse. Iwa's Tsuchikage, Anoki, is a battle-hardened veteran. We might not gain much there either. Besides, Amigakure's proximity to these 3 villages means we can't afford to provoke them right away. If we do, they could send Shinobi to attack us at any time. We're too weak to withstand that. Naruto rose from his seat and approached the map. Taking a pen, he circled Kumo's territory and drew an arrow pointing from Amigakure to Kumo. Kumo has already shown hostility toward us. Conflict is inevitable, so we might as well strike first. Naruto thought to himself, this will also redirect the Raikage grudge against Sasuke toward me. Orochimaru chuckled. It seems you've made up your mind. Are you that eager for the lightning release chakra mode, Naruto-kun? Naruto's gaze was resolute. Yes, the lightning release chakra mode will enhance my reflexes, taijutsu, and defense to a whole new level. Combined with Sage mode and eventually Karama chakra mode, it might even become a power so great it terrifies me. At that moment, Kisame spoke up. By the way, our organization doesn't have a name yet. Acting under the name of Amigakure doesn't seem intimidating enough. Naruto glanced at Konan, who still wore her Akatsuki cloak adorned with red clouds. Turning back, Naruto declared firmly, our organization will still be called Akatsuki. We walk in darkness but strive for the light. To distinguish ourselves from the other Akatsuki, we'll add the word Dawn. Dawn Akatsuki? Konan's cold expression softened into a faint smile. From this moment onward, Akatsuki was reborn, its path divided into light and shadow. That day, Kisame failed to appear at the agreed meeting point with Killer Bee. Without a word, Toby left. Late at night in the Akatsuki hideout, in the dimly lit inner chamber, Sasuke sat clad in black, his eyes wrapped in white bandages. To gain greater ocular power, he had transplanted Itachi's eyes. Can feel it, this power surging within me. I'm getting stronger. With the flickering candlelight casting shadows across the room, Sasuke's intermittent maniacal laughter echoed in the dark chamber. In the corner, Karen hugged her knees tightly to her chest. Her senses were overwhelmed by the increasingly dark chakra emanating from Sasuke, making her body tremble uncontrollably. In the outer chamber, Toby sat silently, waiting for updates. The oppressive atmosphere, flickering candlelight, and the tension radiating from behind his mask all hinted at his growing agitation. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Asterisk finally. Aloe-like leaves sprouted from the wall as Zetsu reappeared, bringing a string of bad news. Kisame has betrayed us. He's defected to Naruto. The Eight Tails has been reclaimed by Kumo and is now on its way back to the village. Under the candlelight, the shadows cast by Tobi's mask stretched long. His low voice broke the silence. The person least likely to betray us has betrayed us, and he's defected to the person least likely to gain his allegiance. This absurd situation could only be achieved by one thing: an Uchiha ocular technique. Specifically, that person's ocular technique. Shirsue's right eye. Naruto must have gotten his hands on it. Once again, he's beaten us to the punch. Black Zetsu spoke up, his voice grave. What now? We've suffered unprecedented losses and are in an unprecedentedly passive position. White Zetsu chimed in optimistically. We still have Sasuke, don't we? He's already transplanted Itachi's eyes and is about to gain even greater ocular power. Black Zetsu retorted. If only it were that simple. Tobi interjected, his tone measured. Sasuke now only cares about his revenge against Konoha. He won't prioritize our plans. And with his new ocular power, it'll be even harder to manipulate him as we did before. White Zetsu, ever the simpleton, suggested. Well, isn't there that girl who has a crush on him? We could use her to pressure Sasuke. Black Zetsu countered. You just said it's a one-sided crush, and with Sasuke's current cold-bloodedness, he might kill her instead. White Zetsu, undeterred, added. Then let's have her bear Sasuke's child. We could use the child to control him. Even if Sasuke is cold-blooded, he wouldn't abandon his own flesh and blood, right? Black Zetsu was speechless. Are you done? Tobi's voice was icy. White Zetsu scratched his head awkwardly. Ah, come on, I was just joking. You seemed so upset. I thought I'd try to lighten the mood. Besides, isn't this the kind of thing Deidara would say? After the brief and awkward exchange, the oppressive atmosphere returned. Tobi's gaze darkened. Ever since Naruto began acting abnormally, we've been forced into a reactive position at every turn. The Moon's Eye plan hasn't seen any substantial progress in a long time. The Eight Tails, the Nine Tails, and the Rinnegan 3 key elements for reviving the 10 Tails, 2 of them are now in Naruto's hands. And he's obtained Kodo Amatsukami, that dangerous ocular technique. To deal with Naruto in his current state, at the very least it's imperative that we secure the Eight Tails for ourselves. White Zetsu's tone turned serious. But we've already failed twice in our attempts to capture the Eight Tails. We even lost Kisame. Who do we send this time? Should we try to convince Sasuke to clean up the mess? Or should we find someone else? Clink. Asterisk. Through the spiral hole in Tobi's mask, his Kamui Mangekyo Sharingan glowed ominously, blood vessels branching out like cracks. I'll go myself. He stood, his movements slow but deliberate, and began walking toward the exit of the hideout. Watching his retreating figure, White Zetsu muttered. Since that battle with the Kirigakure ninja, it's been a long time since I felt such a chilling killing intent from Tobi. Looks like he's really furious this time. Black Zetsu spoke in a low voice. If it's like that time, he might accidentally kill the Eight Tails. If that happens, all our efforts will be for nothing. Someone needs to keep an eye on him. Looks like a lot happened while I was gone. A lazy voice suddenly interrupted. The speaker's white body and spiraled face were unmistakable. White Zetsu perked up. Oh, you're finally back, Tobi. Or should I say, Obito? Black Zetsu wrinkled his nose. You reek. Did you just crawl out of some sewer? Anyway, did you hear what we were talking about? Yeah, I heard it all. He's planning to go after the Eight Tails alone. But given his current mood, he might lose control and kill the Eight Tails. The spiral-faced man's usual carefree demeanor shifted to something more serious. So, I'll go with him. At the 7th floor of the tower in Amigakure, within a quiet room, Naruto stood before a mirror, examining himself in the Akatsuki's signature black cloak adorned with red clouds. He chuckled softly. I never thought there'd come a day when I'd wear this outfit. All right then, clap. Asterisk. He smacked his fist into his palm, his cloak fluttering as he turned sharply and strode out of the room with purpose. In the corridor, Konan leaned against the window, her bright orange eyes watching Naruto approach. This cloak suits you well, she remarked with a faint smile. Naruto waved dismissively, returning a casual smile. Don't tease me. Here, take this. Konan extended her hand, revealing a ring resting in her palm. Naruto took the ring, which still carried the warmth of Konan's hand. Its center bore a light blue background engraved with the kanji for 0. 0, Naruto murmured, his gaze sharpening. Conan's expression turned serious. The Akatsuki operates in pairs, and each official member has a code name. Pain's previous code name was 0, symbolizing nothingness. I hope you'll inherit this name. As she spoke, Conan turned her hand to reveal the ring on her own middle finger, with a white background and white kanji. For reference, my code name is White, symbolizing the white tiger. I understand. Naruto nodded solemnly and carefully slipped the ring onto his left thumb. Seeing this, Conan's lips curved into a faint smile. And this? She continued, reaching to her waist and pulling out a bulging pouch, which she handed to Naruto. These are soldier pills. I noticed your previous ones were damp and unusable. Naruto scratched his head sheepishly. Ah yeah, when I went to retrieve Kisame, I spent a long time hiding underground in the damp. Conan nodded. Throw those away. Eating them could harm your body. Naruto accepted the soldier pills with a serious expression. Thank you, Sister Conan. Conan smiled lightly. We're on the same path. No need for formalities. A few minutes later, the two stepped out of the tower. Orochimaru and Kisame were already waiting in the rain. Naruto's mind was sharp and cautious. Our presence in Amigakure might not go unnoticed. To be safe, he formed a hand seal. Poof. Asterisk. A shadow clone appeared beside him. I'll leave my shadow clone here to guard the base. If anything unexpected happens, I can return instantly using the flying Raijin Jutsu. The journey from Amigakure to Kumogakure spanned thousands of miles, requiring passage through the land of grass, the land of waterfalls, the land of iron, the land of sound, the land of hot water, and the land of the moon before reaching the land of lightning, where Kumogakure was located. Even for a jonin, such a journey would take 10 days to 2 weeks on foot. However, with the flying Raijin Jutsu, Naruto could instantly teleport to pre-marked locations, such as the land of iron, cutting the journey time by more than half. He could even leave flying Raijin marks along the way, enabling him to travel back and forth between Amigakure and their current location. Such was the power of spacetime ninjutsu. The last location where the Raikage fought Kisame was at the southern border of the Land of Waves. For the Raikage to return to his village, he'll need to travel from south to north, crossing the vast Land of Waves. Moreover, the Land of Waves has many waterways, which will drain his chakra and force him to rest along the way. With some luck, we might reach Kumogakure before the Raikage gets back. Naruto slowly placed his mask over his face, his aura shifting dramatically. Conan placed a hand on Naruto's back, while Naruto rested his hands on Orochimaru's and Kisame's shoulders. Let's move. Before departing, Orochimaru glanced at the open space outside the tower. Once we return from this trip, I should begin preparations to build my new lab. Meanwhile, in the snowy mountains behind the land of iron, Arg! 2 patrolling samurai fell to the ground with pained screams. Clang! Asterisk. Suigetsu Hozuki planted the executioner's blade into the ground, baring his sharp teeth in a grin. I left one of them alive for you. Now's your chance. Yugo, in the form of a child, walked coldly toward the barely breathing samurai lying on the ground. The samurai gritted his teeth. You're Shinobi. Blame that blonde Shinobi for turning me into this. Yugo growled. Mounting the samurai's back, Yugo covered his mouth and nose, activating his cursed seal. MMFF. Asterisk. The samurai let out muffled cries as his body rapidly withered, leaving behind an empty suit of armor. Absorbing the samurai's life energy, Yugo reverted to his adult form. Suigetsu smirked. What a thrill. Doing something like this. If we get caught, we're definitely getting thrown into a death row cell dash. As the cursed seal receded, Yugo muttered darkly. We need to get back to Sasuke. I can feel my killing intent rising again. During the previous confrontation between the 5 Kage and Naruto, these two had slipped away unnoticed. Instead of leaving the land of iron immediately, they disguised themselves as samurai, waiting for the right moment to act. Well, Yugo Suigetsu, fancy meeting you again so soon. A playful voice suddenly sounded behind them. Whoosh! Asterisk. The two spun around, instantly on guard. Naruto stood there, flanked by Conan, Orochimaru, and Kisame. Suigetsu's eyes widened in shock. That was a dead end behind us just now. How did he get here? Yugo's voice was low. He has the ability to jump through space, but to appear at this exact moment. What terrible timing. That's right. Life's full of coincidences. Naruto glanced at the samurai's corpse and the withered armor before shifting his gaze back to them. Suigetsu's thoughts raced. Asterisk. That monster who could pin Sasuke to the ground. Better not provoke him. Wait, that cloak? And Kisame-senpai, did he join the Akatsuki too? Asterisk. Quickly, Suigetsu raised his hands. We're on the same side. Don't attack. Naruto's tone was amused. Aren't you part of Taka? Suigetsu replied. Taka and the Akatsuki are allies after all. Naruto chuckled softly. Unfortunately, we're not Akatsuki. Yugo asked cautiously, what do you want? Did you come here specifically to find us? Naruto replied, it's purely a coincidence. But since we've met here, it must be fate. Join us or... The faint aura emanating from Naruto made Suigetsu's hair stand on end. Yugo's expression darkened. His loyalty to Sasuke made him reluctant to betray him. Suigetsu, however, kept signaling with his eyes. Hey, survival comes first. Naruto's tone deepened. Yugo, if you want to find Sasuke, it won't be easy. And you don't want your cursed seal to go out of control and hurt innocent people or animals. Do you? Until you see Sasuke again, perhaps I can be the restraint you need. As he spoke, Naruto slowly removed his mask, revealing his left Ie Sharingan with 3 Tomo. Yugo's eyes narrowed. Fine. I don't know what your goal is, but I'll stay with you for now. But I'll never betray Sasuke. Naruto gestured to the carnage on the ground. Suit yourself. But in exchange for covering up what you've done here, you'll need to contribute to our mission. Yugo hesitated briefly before nodding. Deal. Phew. Suigetsu let out a long breath and joined Yugo behind Naruto. Orochimaru's lips curled into a sly smile. Suigetsu, my dear subordinate, it wasn't long ago that you were pointing your sword at me. Who would have thought we'd be working together so soon? Suigetsu rubbed his hands together with a nervous grin. Of course. I've always believed Lord Orochimaru is my destined master. Naruto placed his mask back on, his voice steady. Let's keep moving. To Kumogakure, their mission. Infiltrate the village, locate the scroll detailing the secrets of the lightning release chakra mode, and take it. Mission difficulty, Super S rank. After this tense encounter, Naruto's group of 6 set off from the Land of Iron, heading toward Kumogakure. After 3 days of arduous travel, Naruto and his team finally reached the borders of the Land of Lightning. Scaling several towering mountains, they arrived at Tenrai Mountain on the 3rd night. Tenrai Mountain pierced the skies, shrouded in mist and echoing with deafening thunderclaps. At its summit, the terrain dipped into a massive basin, within which lay the hidden cloud village Kumogakure. Standing on the ridge overlooking the basin below, Naruto and his team gazed at the grand village hidden amidst the swirling clouds. This is Kumogakure, Naruto murmured. One of the 5 great shinobi villages, renowned for its military and economic power. It truly lives up to its reputation. Naruto activated his Rinnegan's observation mode, revealing a faint blue glow resembling an inverted bowl that enveloped the entire basin. Oh, this barrier is quite something, he remarked. Though Konan couldn't see the barrier, she knew its nature well. That's Kumogakure's heavenly retribution barrier. Anyone who enters it without authorization will be immediately detected and struck by lightning until they're utterly destroyed. It's an almost impenetrable defensive technique. Naruto turned to Orochimaru behind him. Orochimaru, you once infiltrated Kumogakure and attacked the previous 8-Tails Jinchuriki, Blue Bee. How did you bypass this barrier back then? Orochimaru, unbothered by how Naruto knew such details, replied, that was many years ago. At the time, Kumogakure's barrier wasn't the asterisk heavenly retribution barrier asterisk but a sensory-based system similar to Konoha's. It relied on coded signals for authentication. I infiltrated by scouting ahead and stealing the code. After that incident, Kumogakure upgraded their barrier to the heavenly retribution barrier. Instead of codes, they now mark their shinobi with unique identifiers to avoid triggering the barrier. Naruto sighed. Such precautions, truly troublesome. Orochimaru added, indeed, I wouldn't be able to infiltrate again. However, this barrier created by the first Raikage is an unfinished prototype. While powerful, it has flaws. It carries a minuscule chance of false activation, even against those with proper identifiers. In Kumogakure, accidental deaths from the barrier occur every year, though such scandals are always covered up. Orochimaru's tone turned sly. Of course, the Raikage himself has no fear of the barrier. With his asterisk lightning release chakra mode, his body can withstand the lightning strikes. Naruto nodded thoughtfully. I see. I wasn't aware of such details. So, what's the plan, Naruto-kun? Orochimaru asked. Naruto smirked. It's not as difficult as it seems. He formed a hand seal. Poof. Asterisk. A shadow clone appeared beside him, holding a flying Raijin kunai in its mouth. Naruto turned to Kisame. Kisame, use your strength and Samahata to assist my shadow clone. Kisame grinned, gripping Samahata tightly. Got it. Clang. Asterisk. Naruto's shadow clone leapt onto Samahata's massive blade. Hurrah! Kisame roared, swinging Samahata with monstrous strength. Whoosh! Asterisk. With Kisame's assistance, Naruto's shadow clone shot through the mist, piercing the barrier. Crack! Asterisk. Thunderclouds gathered above, unleashing a ferocious lightning strike. Naruto's shadow clone vanished instantly in a burst of smoke, leaving a crater in the ground below. Naruto chuckled. That was fast. It didn't even have time to dispel itself. Silent infiltration is almost impossible. Whoosh! Asterisk. Naruto vanished, reappearing beside the fallen kunai using the flying Raijin jutsu. Clink! Asterisk. He caught the kunai midair and pocketed it, his cloak billowing as he landed gracefully in the crater. His left Rinnegan glowed with a mysterious light. Well then, he formed hand seals and pressed his palms to the ground. Summoning jutsu. Poof! 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 Asterisk. 5 clouds of smoke erupted simultaneously, revealing Konan, Orochimaru, Kisame, Suigetsu, and Yugo standing beside Naruto. Suigetsu exclaimed, "You can summon people like this?" Naruto stood and said, "Stick to the plan. Create chaos in different areas to draw their attention. Remember, no killing." The group responded in unison. Understood. Naruto waved his arm. Scatter. Whoosh! 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 Asterisk. Everyone except Konan dispersed, heading in different directions. Konan cautioned, "Kumogakure has many powerful shinobi. Be careful." Naruto nodded. "You too." With a rustle, Konan spread her arms, her body and cloak transforming into countless elegant paper butterflies that fluttered away. Naruto bent down to retrieve his kunai, his gaze fixed on a blue-roofed fortress in the distance, the Raikage residence. Kumogakure Barrier Unit Asterisk. A hooded shinobi reported, "The barrier was triggered a moment ago. Based on the ripples, the intruder moved with precision and speed." Another member glanced out the window at the clear skies. The heavenly retribution barrier's lightning should have neutralized the intruder. Since no further strikes occurred, the target must have been eliminated. The unit leader ordered, "Conduct a field investigation to confirm. Also, send a squad to guard the Raikage residence, just in case." "Yes, Captain." Boom! 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 Asterisk. Explosions echoed from all directions. What's going on? A Kumogakure shinobi appeared. The village is under attack. Multiple assaults are happening simultaneously. What? There's more than one intruder? And they somehow bypassed the heavenly retribution barrier? These invaders are formidable. Deploy reinforcements to the attack sites and use the Thunderclap communication jutsu to notify the Raikage immediately. Understood. As Kumogakure's forces rushed to respond, Naruto, disguised as a Kumogakure shinobi using the asterisk transformation jutsu, approached the Raikage residence. "This is going much smoother than I expected. Your clever plan ends here, intruder." A firm voice interrupted his thoughts. A stoic Kumogakure shinobi with a black eye patch appeared, flanked by a squad of ANBU. Dodai? Naruto's mind flashed to a nickname he'd once given this man — Uncle Rubber. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, Dodai had repeatedly used his lava release rubber wall to protect Naruto's shadow clones. His tactical acumen and combat skills had left a deep impression on Naruto. Dodai's cold gaze bore into him. "Your intentions are clear. You created chaos across the village to distract us. Your real target is this residence." Feigning calm, Naruto replied, "Dodai-san, what are you talking about? I just returned to report to the Raikage." Dodai's sharp eyes scanned him. "Enough with the act. Your disguise as Samui is impressive, but Samui left on an A-rank mission 3 hours ago. There's no way she completed it so quickly. Besides, Samui never uses honorifics with me. Show your true form." Naruto glanced down at his chest and sighed. "Is that so? I was quite confident in this disguise. But since I've been exposed..." Poof! Asterisk. The transformation jutsu dissolved, revealing Naruto in his Akatsuki cloak and mask. Dodai's eyes narrowed. "That cloak! You're with the Akatsuki." Naruto's voice deepened. "Not Akatsuki. Remember this name, Maisho. Soon, it will resound across the shinobi world." Dodai sneered. "Arrogant fool. Neither you nor your allies will leave Kumogakure alive. Attack! Crackle! Asterisk. Electricity surged as the ANBU used the lightning body flicker technique to surround Naruto in an instant. Screech! Screech! Asterisk. Swords were drawn and stabbed into the ground. The ANBU formed hand seals in unison. Asterisk. Lightning release. Ground surge. Asterisk. Naruto's left eye glowed ominously. Asterisk. Shinra Tensei. Asterisk. Lightning surged from all directions, but the overwhelming repulsive force dispersed it with ease. The same force tore up the ground, flinging the attacking Kumogakure Shinobi into the air. Ugh! It deflected our ground surge? How is that even possible? Asterisk. Shinra Tensei. Asterisk. Whoosh. Asterisk. 5 seconds later, a second wave of repulsive force blasted the Shinobi even further, rendering them completely incapacitated. With repeated use, Naruto had honed his control over Shinra Tensei. Against Jonin-level opponents, one strike would leave them writhing in pain as if their bodies were falling apart. A second strike would incapacitate them entirely, though it wasn't lethal. Beneath the cracked walls of the Raikage residence, Dodai had managed to protect himself from the second wave by using his lava release rubber ball to create an elastic shield. His mind raced. What just happened? That technique repelled both the incoming jutsu and the shinobi who cast them. Physical attacks and ninjutsu alike are completely ineffective against him. Through a gap in the rubber shield, Dodai observed the immobilized Kumogakure Jonin scattered across the battlefield. There was a brief window between the two attacks. If not for that, I wouldn't have had time to create this shield. So, that ability isn't without its flaws. Naruto, surveying the scene with his piercing gaze, casually flicked his Akatsuki cloak and strode toward the entrance of the Raikage's residence. Dodai's eyes narrowed. I miscalculated. I assumed an enemy who needed to create chaos before approaching would be cautious and relatively weak. That's why I allocated most of our forces to handle his accomplices. But it seems I was gravely mistaken. If that repelling technique has an interval of vulnerability, there might be a chance to exploit it with my jutsu. After a brief but meticulous analysis, Dodai partially opened his rubber shield and extended his hand. Naruto glanced at him indifferently. Stop, Uncle Rubber. Your jutsu won't protect you a second time. Clench. Asterisk. Dodai froze mid-motion, cold sweat dripping down his face. He saw through me completely. His strength is on an entirely different level. Who is this man? Russell. Asterisk. Dodai dispelled his rubber shield and cautiously asked, The Raikage isn't in the village right now. Naruto replied calmly. Of course I know that. Dodai's eyes sharpened. What is your goal? Naruto smiled faintly. Oh? Are you offering to fulfill it for me? Dodai's gaze flickered. You could try stating it. Perhaps. We can negotiate. We're both shinobi here. Let's not kid ourselves. Naruto averted his gaze, and with a sudden asterisk whoosh, a gust of wind swirled beneath his feet. Defying gravity, his body began to rise into the air. Dodai's eyes widened as he tracked Naruto's ascent. He's not using Inoki's lightweight rock technique to lighten his body, nor is he employing a medium like Raza's golden sand to create a platform. He can just fly? Wait, could it be? That repelling technique, its essence, is it the manipulation of gravitational fields? Naruto's mastery over the Rinnegan had grown significantly. He could now manipulate gravitational fields to overcome gravity itself, achieving flight, an ability he had only gained in his previous life after obtaining the Six Paths power. Hovering in midair, Naruto swept his sleeves dramatically. Clink, 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 clink. Asterisk. For black rods shot out, embedding themselves precisely around the Raikage's residence. Whoosh. Asterisk. Naruto raised 2 fingers in front of his chest, forming a hand seal. Asterisk. 4 violet flames formation. Modified. Asterisk. Fwoosh, 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 fwoosh. Asterisk. From the black rods, purple flames erupted and rapidly expanded, forming a massive barrier of fire that isolated the Raikage's residence from the outside world. Outside the barrier, Dodai exclaimed. He executed an enhanced version of the 4 violet flames formation all by himself. You're a rogue shinobi from Konoha who joined the Akatsuki, aren't you? Naruto's voice came from within the barrier, calm and deliberate. Not Akatsuki. Maisho. It's important, so I hope you remember the distinction. Inside the barrier, Naruto made no further remarks. He waved his hand. Boom. Asterisk. The roof of the Raikage's residence collapsed as Naruto descended into the building. Boom. 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 Kumogakure was in chaos, with smoke rising from all directions. Yugo, Suigetsu, Konin, Kisame, and Orochimaru unleashed their signature techniques, engaging Kumogakure's elite shinobi in fierce battles, buying Naruto precious time. Under the cover of night, in the forests bordering the land of lightning and the land of waves, the Raikage and Killer Bee's group were resting. B, you only escaped death this time because they wanted to capture a Jinchuriki alive. If I had arrived even a moment later, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Over the years, they've acted in the shadows, targeting the Jinchuriki of Sunagakure, Kirigakure, and Iwagakure one after another. Even Konoha's Jinchuriki defected from the village and disappeared. It's only a matter of time before they come for you again. From now on, you're staying in the village, no exceptions. Stay put? What a drag. Bro, you're such a nag. Bro, dumb fool, stupid fool dash. Killer Bee sang, shaking his head dismissively. The Raikage's vein twitched as he snapped, "Hey, you idiot Bee! I'm being serious here." Thunk. Killer Bee immediately quieted down after receiving one of the Raikage's infamous iron punches. Sigh. The Raikage sighed heavily. Fine. How about this? If you stay in the village obediently, I'll assign Samui to accompany you around the clock. Killer Bee's eyes lit up behind his sunglasses, and he stopped singing. Around the clock? Including at night, the Raikage chuckled. That depends on your charm, doesn't it? But don't you dare do anything that would disgrace the honor of a shinobi. Crack. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning streaked across the sky above the Raikage. He raised his hand, catching it effortlessly. Thunderclap communication jutsu star. Has something happened in the village? The lightning dissipated, delivering an urgent message directly to the Raikage's mind. The village is under attack. Return immediately. Whoosh. The Raikage shot to his feet. Killer Bee called out, "Big bro dash." The Raikage turned to his team. Mabui. Prepare the heavenly transfer jutsu. Mabui stood up, alarmed. What's going on? The village has been attacked. The shinobi around them gasped. What? Who would dare? The Raikage's voice was cold. In today's shinobi world, who else but the Akatsuki would have the audacity? Bee was just rescued, and now the village is under attack. Who else could it be? The Kumogakure shinobi grew tense. They had all heard of the devastation Akatsuki had wrought upon Konoha. To them, Akatsuki was a dire threat to the shinobi world. The Raikage turned to Bee. I need to return to the village immediately. Killer Bee, understanding the gravity of the situation, nodded solemnly. Don't worry, big bro. This time I won't sneak off. Go back and take care of the enemy. The Raikage smiled appreciatively. Good. Once I crush those Akatsuki bastards, I'll see you back in the village. The two brothers bumped fists, grinning. Mabui, activate the jutsu. Mabui had already prepared the heavenly transfer jutsu. Crackle. The Raikage activated his lightning release chakra mode and stepped into the jutsu's seal. This was necessary to prevent his body from being torn apart during the lightspeed transfer. Mabui closed her eyes and formed a hand seal. Ninja art. Heavenly transfer jutsu. Whoosh. With a flash of light, the Raikage vanished. Darui sighed. The shinobi world is truly a troubled place these days. Let's hurry back as well. Whoosh. At that moment, an ominous black vortex swirled into existence, distorting space itself. A cold voice greeted them. Well, finally we meet Eight Tails Jinchuriki, Killer Bee. From behind his mask, Tobi's Sharingan glinted coldly as he surveyed the wary shinobi before him. The Raikage isn't here? That saves me a lot of trouble. From an unknown swirling vortex, a masked man appeared before the Kumogakure shinobi. Mabui. What was that just now? Darui. It's a space-time ninjutsu. Does Akatsuki have someone like this? Under the eerie night sky, a pitch-black vortex gave way to a dark and mysterious figure. The masked man's cold, emotionless eyes radiated an enigmatic aura. A fierce gust of wind swept through the forest. Killer Bee of the Eight Tails was about to face a super challenge. Showtime. Killer Bee danced and rapped without a care in the world, showing no sense of danger. Darkness swirls, mysterious man unfurls. Eight Tails Killer Bee. Ready for the thrill? Ya see showtime yo. Darui, ever cautious, thought to himself. The boss just left, and Akatsuki shows up immediately. Could it be that attacking the village was just a diversion to lure him away? So this is bad. He made a quick decision. Protect Lord B. Yes, The accompanying Kumogakure ANBU immediately formed a defensive formation around Killer B. Behind the mask, Obito's Sharingan spun as he analyzed the situation. Darui, an elite jonin of Kumogakure, the right-hand man of the Raikage, and the most likely candidate for the next Raikage. Darui, fully alert, responded, "You flatter me. I'm just slightly ahead of my peers. I've heard Akatsuki operates in pairs. Are you sure you're okay alone? Our boss is already on his way back. Your partner causing chaos in the village is likely done for." Behind the mask, Obito was momentarily puzzled. "No need for chatter. Akatsuki scum. Let's finish this." A hot-headed, blonde-haired youth with the kanji for heat tattooed on his shoulder grabbed his ninja blade and charged forward. Darui shouted, "Atsui, don't act recklessly. We don't know the enemy's abilities yet." But Atsui, driven by adrenaline, ignored him. Flames ignited along his blade as he charged. Kumogakure's fiery slash. Obito stood motionless, making no defensive moves. Frozen in fear? Akatsuki isn't all that. Atsui smirked, swinging his flaming blade with full force. The blade sliced through nothing. There was no resistance, no sensation of cutting through flesh. What? Atsui was stunned as his entire body passed through Obito. Reckless or cautious, the outcome remains the same. The only difference is the order in which you die, came Obito's cold voice from behind the mask. Obito turned and reached for Atsui's shoulder. A swirling vortex erupted from his right eye, instantly engulfing Atsui. Snap! The vortex closed, and Obito twisted his neck slightly. In just one move, Atsui, the inheritor of the heat tattoo, vanished without a trace. The Kumogakure shinobi were left speechless. Darui demanded, "Where did he go?" Obito turned back indifferently. "Another dimension. Don't worry, you'll join him soon enough." Darui clenched his fists in regret. "How am I supposed to face Samui? Atsui was her younger brother. Now it's my turn." Obito charged forward. Storm release. Laser circus. Darui formed hand seals, combining water and lightning releases into a laser-like barrage, creating a web of firepower. But every attack missed its mark. Obito phased through the ANBU's defensive formation, one after another, until he reached Killer B, extending his hand toward him. Not everyone is Minato. Once this hand grabs you, it's over. Lightning release. Black Panther. A black lightning panther descended from above. Obito's eyes flickered as his hand passed through Killer B's face. Boom! The lightning panther exploded on Killer B, creating an electrified zone that no one could approach. At the center of the lightning zone, Killer B twitched violently. Electric baptism, allies intervention, legs paralyzed, early retirement low light moment, 8 tails Killer B, constipation feel fool ya fool dash. Outside the lightning zone, Obito's gaze shifted to Darui. The third Raikage's unique black lightning. Compared to ordinary lightning release, it has a stronger paralyzing effect. You, the inheritor of Kumogakure's lightning tattoo, are the only one capable of using it. Darui replied, "Even if your body can phase, the moment you attack, you must materialize. If we can catch that moment, we can stop you. I won't let you get near Lord B so easily." Obito smirked. "Oh, you're quick to catch on." Darui's expression darkened. "But that also means, as long as he doesn't attack, we can't do anything to him. Timing his attacks is easier said than done. One mistake, and it's all over." Boom! 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 Ninja blades, kunai, shuriken, explosive tags, and a flurry of ninjutsu bombarded Obito. But all attacks were rendered useless by Kamui's intangibility. Obito phased through one ANBU's blade and reached for them. He's materializing. Now's the time. Another ANBU struck, but their blade passed through Obito and pierced their comrade's chest instead. What? He deliberately pretended to attack to exploit his weakness and trick me into killing my ally. Arg! Snap! Obito broke the ANBU's neck from behind. Darui grew increasingly alarmed. The safest option is to evacuate Lord B. As long as he and the 8 tails don't fall into Akatsuki's hands, our lives are insignificant. Making his decision, he commanded, "Mabui, use heavenly transfer technique to send Lord B away." Mabui hesitated. "But," Darui insisted, "I understand the risks. But as long as Lord B enters version 2 state, the high-density tailed beast cloak will prevent his body from being torn apart by lightspeed teleportation. He'll be gravely injured, but he'll survive." Mabui protested. "Is it necessary? Together with Lord B, we can dash." "It's not that simple. Look at him. He hasn't even gotten serious yet." Akatsuki has failed twice to capture Lord B. This time, they've gone to great lengths, even attacking the village to lure the boss away. They're determined to succeed. Seeing Mabui's hesitation, Darui shouted, "Hurry! The Black Panther's lightning zone is fading. I understand." Mabui began preparing the heavenly transfer technique. "You won't succeed." Obito's cold gaze shifted toward Mabui. A sharp wooden spike shot from his sleeve, piercing Mabui's chest. With a cruel hand seal, wooden spikes erupted from her body. Mabui collapsed into a pool of blood. Darui's pupils contracted. "Would release, correct. But the only reward for answering is death." A vortex appeared midair as Obito unleashed a rain of wooden spikes. "Would release. Cutting technique." Desperate screams echoed through the forest. In the blood-soaked chaos, Darui roared, "Lord B, run! Fool ya fool! Eight Tails Killer B is gonna sting like a bee." Killer B's sunglasses reflected his rage as his rap turned into a roar. Boom! Boom! His body and chakra expanded as he transformed into the Eight Tails. Tailed Beast transformation. Obito's eyes gleamed. Oh? Finally, a terrifying black chakra sphere compressed in the Eight Tails' mouth before being unleashed. Tailed Beast Bomb. Boom! 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 Whether it's a Tailed Beast Bomb or anything else, it's meaningless before my eyes. Obito phased through the Tailed Beast Bomb as it obliterated the mountain behind him. A beast's last struggle. Even the Eight Tails, second only to the Nine Tails, is no exception. 5 flames ignited at Obito's fingertips. He crouched and pressed his hand to the ground. Uchiha Flame Formation. From the ground erupted purple flames, swiftly forming an enormous, enclosed barrier. The Uchiha Flame Formation's secret barrier technique passed down by Madara Uchiha himself. Its strength far surpasses the 4 Violet Flames formation and is second only to the 4 Red Yang formation. It is powerful enough to trap even the near-invincible demonic statue of the Outer Path. I am the Eight Tails Lord Killer B. No way I'm becoming some octopus takoyaki stuck in a jar. Fool, ya fool. Bastard, ya bastard. The Eight Tails shook its head, snorted through its nostrils, and wrapped its massive body tightly with its 8 octopus tentacles. With a rhythm matching its rap, it began rolling forward ferociously. Tailed Beast 8 roll, Oxhead Chariot. Boom! With a thunderous crash, the chariot came to a halt. The 8 octopus tentacles rubbed fiercely against the barrier walls, sparks flying everywhere. But there was no sign of the barrier breaking. The ground beneath was gouged into a deep pit as the Oxhead Chariot finally stopped. The barrier remained intact, but the charred tentacles of the Eight Tails drooped weakly to the ground, steaming. Ow, ow, ow. That hurt. I apologize to all the delicious takoyaki I've ever eaten in the past. Obito looked on coldly. So, have you calmed down a little? Inside the mental world, the Eight Tails spoke. B, we should retreat for now. This guy's abilities are too troublesome. Even a Tailed Beast Bomb can't hurt him. Though defeat stings. I can't stand this thing. His skills are dreamlike. Revenge can wait 10 years. Alright, fool, ya fool. Bastard. Ya bastard. Whoosh, the Eight Tails opened its massive mouth, gathering an ultra-large Tailed Beast Bomb. Whoosh, the bomb passed through Obito's body and collided with the barrier behind him. Obito's voice was icy. It seems you still haven't learned your lesson. Boom, the massive explosion was contained entirely within the barrier. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. The intense heat and pressure caused the barrier to warp and distort. A gap opened at the top, releasing a pillar of flame into the sky. When the energy was released, the gap closed, and the barrier returned to its perfect square shape, completely undamaged. However, the Eight Tails was caught in the blast of its own Tailed Beast Bomb, leaving it battered and bruised. Obito sneered. This is what they call hoisting yourself with your own petard. You bastard! The Eight Tails roared. Obito's right eye narrowed. Kamui! Whoosh! A spiraling vortex from Kamui sent a Fuma Shuriken spinning down, pinning one of the Eight Tails' tentacles. Whoosh! Following the shuriken, sharp wooden stakes rained down like a storm, embedding themselves into the Eight Tails' flesh. Crack! 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 As Obito formed seals, the stakes sprouted barbs, tearing through the Eight Tails' body. Blood flowed from the Eight Tails' massive form, staining the ground red. B, think of something. If this goes on, we'll die here, the Eight Tails shouted. Killer B replied. His phasing ability is tied to the Sharingan. There must be a limit. He can't sustain it forever. The Eight Tails countered. That's logical, but we know nothing about his limits. Killer B declared. Killer B fears no challenge. The Eight Tails sighed. It's rare to see you so optimistic in such a dire situation. Fine. I'll give it my all. If worst comes to worst, we'll take him down with us. Whoosh! The eight tails gathered an unprecedented amount of chakra. Obito's gaze sharpened as he ceased the vortex from his right eye. Killer Bee, fully charged, launched his attack. Continuous tailed beast bombs. Boom! 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 The tailed beast fired its bombs like a rapid cannon, causing a chain of explosive resonances within the barrier. Amid the indiscriminate chaos of fire and light, Obito murmured, "To injure the enemy by 1,000 while harming yourself by 800, using near-suicidal attacks to test the limits of my Kamui. Indeed, it's both the dumbest and smartest strategy. But every explosion is confined within this barrier. Even in my phased state, I can move through space-time." Within the torrent of explosions, Obito shifted his position. Whoosh! About 2 minutes later, his body emerged from the edge of the barrier, stepping outside. Gazing at the inferno-like barrier, Obito's eyes darkened. "This is your self-inflicted demise." Crack! Crack! Suddenly, cracks appeared on the barrier wall, radiating a terrifying energy. Could the extreme heat have exceeded the Uchiha flame formation's limits? Kamui! Whoosh! The vortex from his right, I absorbed him into the Kamui dimension. Boom! The Uchiha flame formation shattered completely, and the destructive flames consumed the earth in an instant. Whoosh! When Obito returned from the Kamui dimension, the forest spanning several miles had been razed to the ground. Everything was reduced to nothingness. At the bottom of a deep crater, Killer Bee lay motionless, his body charred black. So this is the true power of the Eight Tails. Whether it was against Sasuke or Kisame, you never fought with your full strength. Obito stepped forward, his Sharingan cold and piercing. "I'm certain you're neither a clone nor a substitution. In that case, I'll take you without hesitation." He bent down, reaching for Killer Bee. Suddenly, Killer Bee's eyes opened beneath his sunglasses, and his arm shot out like lightning. Zap! A pencil charged with lightning release pierced through Obito's mask, exiting through the back of his head and disappearing into the sky. Swish! The assassination failed. Killer Bee, enduring immense pain, retreated 3 meters and used his remaining tailed beast chakra to form a translucent tailed beast cloak. Huff! 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 He panted heavily, but his eyes behind the sunglasses remained defiant. Obito slowly retracted his hand, his voice low. "Surrender quietly, and you might suffer less." Killer Bee smirked. "There's no such song in my repertoire. What a pity." Obito lowered his head slowly. Crack! 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 Sinister wooden branches burst through the fabric of his right shoulder, growing wildly toward the blood-red moon in the sky. Would release. Hellish chaos. Kumogakure, the Raikage returned. "Raikage-sama, intruders have surrounded your residence with a barrier," Darui reported. Humph! The Raikage snorted coldly, his thick neck twisting as lightning-released chakra mode enveloped him. Staring at the barrier, he extended 2 fingers, which crackled with lightning, forming a sharp spear. Darui's expression turned solemn. "That's the third Raikage's one-finger nukite. The fourth prefers hand-to-hand combat, so he only mastered the 2-finger nukite, but even that should be enough to break this barrier." Zap! The Raikage charged forward, his lightning spear piercing the barrier. His massive frame crashed through with unstoppable force. Inside the office, books, desks, chairs, and gym equipment were scattered everywhere. Naruto rummaged through everything, his brows furrowing. "I've looked everywhere. Could it be that it's not here?" Boom! The wall exploded. "You Akatsuki thief! Prepare to die." The Raikage's thunderous roar echoed alongside the explosion as his furious eyes locked onto the figure in the Akatsuki cloak. "Raikage, we meet again so soon. Perfect timing, I have something to ask you," a calm voice replied. The Raikage's eyes widened in rage. "What? That voice? It's you." Naruto turned slowly, his expression serious. "Where did you put the scroll containing the lightning-release chakra mode? I've searched everywhere and can't find it." "What?" As if gravely insulted, Raikage erupted in fury. "Are you kidding me? Prepare to die." Zap! The Raikage charged at Naruto, his 2 lightning-clad fingers aiming straight for Naruto's face. Naruto's eyes narrowed. "This move, it's the third Raikage's strongest spear. Asterisk Shinra Tensei. Asterisk. Whoosh! The Raikage's charge came to an abrupt halt as the lightning at his fingertips clashed with the repulsive force, scattering arcs of electricity. Yet he failed to break through. Smack! After a few seconds of stalemate, the Raikage planted his feet firmly on the ground and retreated swiftly, stopping at the opening in the wall. Boom! All 4 walls collapsed simultaneously. The force scattered rubble and dust, turning the Raikage's residence into an open-air plaza. Damn it! That repulsive force again! The Raikage cursed. Naruto thought to himself. If that had been the one-finger Nukite, things could have gone really bad. Whoosh! The air swirled at Naruto's feet as he ascended into the sky. Are you trying to run away? The Raikage shouted at him. Naruto looked down from above. If you want to fight me at full strength, you'd better be prepared for your village to be leveled. Tell me, are you ready for that? Humph! The Raikage replied firmly. I've roamed the ninja world for half my life. I didn't fear your father, the Yellow Flash, and I won't fear his son. Especially not a petty thief. A petty thief, huh? Naruto's Rinnegan glimmered coldly as he said in a low voice. Back then, Kimogakure coveted the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. Under the guise of the Chunin exams, you attempted to abduct the young Hyuga heiress. Even after your plan failed, you refused to give up, ultimately leading to Hisashi's tragic death. Tell me, how noble were your actions? The Raikage sneered arrogantly. Humph, it's survival of the fittest. The 3rd Hokage didn't dare risk war by opposing us, which is why Hisashi died. Don't blame me for that. Naruto closed his eyes and said coldly, Humph. Fair enough. The Raikage attempted to taunt him. What now? Are you, a rogue ninja from Konoha, planning to stand up for your old village? Naruto opened his eyes. Yes, I am a rogue ninja. And precisely because I'm a rogue ninja, everything I do is based on my own principles. Smack. As he finished speaking, he clapped his hands together. Sizzle. Between his palms, a pitch-black sphere began to form. The sphere was only an inch in diameter, yet it emanated a dark, oppressive chakra. Staring at it felt like being sucked into a void, leaving one with a sense of dread. The Raikage's pupils shrank. What is that? Naruto lifted the black sphere with his left hand and tossed it into the sky. Buzz! The sphere merged with the night, resonating with the moon's light and radiating countless beams of white light. This is my farewell gift, Naruto said softly. Smack! He clasped his hands together, his left eye shining with a dazzling light. Asterisk Chibaku Tensei. Asterisk. Boom! The Raikage's residence disintegrated first. Rubble and debris carried the Raikage into the sky. Damn it! Is this some kind of gravitational force? He roared. As he ascended, the Raikage stepped on the rubble, trying to escape the gravitational pull. When that failed, he resorted to smashing the rocks with his fists and feet. Crack, crack. But as the ground below fractured, more and more boulders rose into the sky. Overwhelmed, the Raikage could only struggle futilely. Exhausted, he was finally slammed into a massive stone, buried under the subsequent debris. I will have the lightning release chakra mode. I will return for it, Naruto said. Whoosh! Activating the asterisk flying Raijin Jutsu, Naruto disappeared into the sky. Whoosh! Moments later, Naruto reappeared with his team on a ridge outside Kimogakure. Panting heavily, Suigetsu leaned on his decapitating carving knife for support. Good thing you showed up in time. Those Kimogakure ninja and their lightning release really counter my hydrification technique. If you'd been a minute later, I might have been done for. Whoosh! As the cursed seal receded, Yugo's chest and back were covered in deep cuts. Kumogakure's swordsmanship is truly exceptional. To think they could easily wound my cursed seal-enhanced body. I nearly lost control of my killing intent. Kisame, with Samahata slung over his shoulder, grinned. I enjoy fighting opponents with massive chakra reserves. Too bad there aren't any others like the Eight Tails or the Raikage in Kimogakure. Orochimaru, his body coiled by a white snake,